Hello everyone, it's the storyteller here. I've prepared something slow, eerie, and sleep-friendly for you tonight. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Are you drifting off already, or still wide awake? Separation. Kristen's REM cycle crashed again into the guardrail. The one constant, morning to morning, was the heron. It was symbolic of nothing. Simply the last inhuman face she'd seen before the Miata, and Todd simultaneously punched holes in Lake Springfield. Something clattered above Kristen's head, followed by a disembodied curse. That, too, was part of the morning ritual, along with defoliation, granola, stout, deep roast drowned in hazelnut coffee mate, the digital journal register, the customized multivitamin, the Zoloft, the daily trailer for a watery grave. Her bare feet hit the hardwood floor. She'd removed the rugs after the California King became single occupancy, and the feel of sturdy, substantial phenite walnut under her was reassuring, if not comforting, as Todd's canvases and brushes and tools jostled about in the attic. Kristen prepared to meet the remains of the day. Jenna, get you the perinatal clinic piece? Kristen didn't look up from her workstation. Been in your inbox since 9. You got anything for the cover yet? Oliver knew damned well Jenna had never missed a deadline, but the option of working remotely had been his editor's idea, and the closet incel had resented Jen stretching a COVID furlough into extended maternity leave, into a lifestyle choice necessary for Kristen to retain Springfield Alive's top feature writer. Oliver hungered for Jen's failure. Kristen wasn't about to let that happen. She owed her. Reason I ask, Kristen murmured calmly, is if you haven't committed anything to Illustrator yet, I'd like to give Bet a shot at it. Oliver stiffened, but she could virtually feel the vibrations across her desk. She finally glanced up, expressionless. Bet's been here 6 months. You really think she... They, his boss interrupted bluntly. Yes, I believe they're ready. But you make a point, in your own desensitized way. Bet's experienced childbirth. You rocked this month's cover on college basketball culture. I think Bet can bring something profound to this topic. Don't you think? Tables tilted, if not turned. Oliver smiled very tightly. About time they proved their mettle. I agree, Kristen said, continuing the charade as she shot Jen's draft to the chief graphic designer. And, by the way, I know it may seem unfair sometimes that Jen and Eli work from home, but there's nothing keeping you from availing yourself of the same option. We can supply you anything you need, including a state-of-the-art multi-terabyte Dell and a subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud, yours to use professionally, and on that book of yours. Let me think about it. Oliver may waver. From what Kristen cared to glean, most of his off-duty hours seemed embroiled in ESPN, or his literary opus, Gary the Ghostly Goat. Ad revenues were back up post-pandemic, and a franchise in the currently lucrative children's traumatization genre, subsidized by Springfield Alive, was an investment in Kristen's precarious sanity. But Oliver needed to remain close to the seat of power if he hoped someday to claim it. R.L. Stein could relax for the time being. When Kristen turned back, he'd vanished. Kristen peered out onto I-55 South. The mid-morning traffic had slowed, and the nearby Crown Plaza stood in crisp contrast to a cloudless spring sky. Rotunda Publications had been virtually surrounded by cornfields when she'd interned at the monthly. But the city was grazing noisily at what remained of the Aggie fringe. The glass-encased fourth-floor dead-center office offered a broad view encompassing the distant State House dome and a suggestion of the lake to the south. Kristen had a few minutes before the superfluous weekly meeting with the publisher, and she scanned the passing parade. The figure was on the berm about 50 feet ahead of the 94 exit ramp. No floundered car in sight, no backpack or duffel, no obligatory cardboard sign indicative of the overconfident highway panhandler, and too far off the ramp for begging anyway. Kristen planted her forehead against the double-paned glass, then brought the blinds down in a clatter that turned a dozen heads in the newsroom. Kristen was headed deep into a pleasant blur of Prosecco and Netflix when the text alert brought her back to reality, or her version of it, the last 8 months. She'd quit jumping for the phone on the coffee table after about the first 50 or so times, but the view out her window this morning suggested she might want to respond to this one. Rue lonely? The messages were always succinct, neutral, and yet seemingly potentially rich in tone and nuance. 2 possible interpretations, the one more discomfiting than the other, but not by much. Something screeched on the wood 2 floors up, and Kristen retrieved the lunetta and the remote. She had no idea whether birds possessed the capacity for terror. The static black eyes that greeted her a nanosecond before Miata and Heron collided in a momentary explosion of flesh and blood and feathers may merely have reflected the failure of the fight or flight mechanism, or renewed faith in the homicidal ingenuity of the human species. Todd already had breached the passenger side windshield, and she, the subconscious she, wondered. Had the Heron adjusted its flight pattern 2 feet, would they have shared a moment of communion, bouncing about the Miata, pondering the idiocy of hope and trust in forged steel and onboard sensors, in broad wings and open skies? She missed Todd piercing the molecular membrane. She always did. The Heron consistently was the third wheel in this looping drama, and as the show replayed each dawn, Todd had become a supporting player. The Heron slammed into the tempered glass with an odd, muted, wooden impact, and Kristen's head popped from the pillow as the thumping continued above. "Sean wants you to call ASAP," Renee scolded mildly. Everything all right? Truck overturned on 55. We were stacked up for about a half hour. Renee began to clarify her inquiry, but her penetrating black eyes darted to the venti caramel macchiato in Kristen's fist. Kristen had decided a half hour of twisted metal and pebbled glass sitting on the 55 bridge merited a bonus dose of caffeine and sugar. See if Oliver got Bet everything they need for the June cover. As Kristen settled in, she noted Dr. Badgley had called back and weighed priorities. She placed her iPhone beside the cooling macchiato and punched the 3-digit extension for payroll. Yeah, sorry, Sean piped with positively no regret. You know we're trying to get everybody with the program on e-deposit, but I still haven't gotten what I need from... Look, I've got a meeting in about 5 minutes, Kristen said through her teeth. Can we pick this up this afternoon? Let me see what I got on the old calendar. Kristen gently cradled the handset, took a therapeutic sip, steeled herself, and recovered the smartphone. Ms. Blackwood. Dr. Badgley answered almost immediately, cool and genial. I understand you might want to talk. We hit the water almost simultaneously. We'd gotten separated, and then a bird hit the windshield. Big one, because the driver's airbag went off. Kind of a double-edged sword when you're about to turn into a submersible. Neither one of us knew what had happened to the other. We can get back to that, the therapist suggested. What you're describing had to have been horrifyingly traumatic in the moment. But I sense you've since gone through considerable re-examination and second-guessing, and maybe even moments of self-recrimination. What are you feeling right now? As Kristen crossed the clinic parking lot, the text alert sounded. She strode on as she thumbed the green icon, I see you. This time, the heron didn't appear until the crucial underwater finale. Some state cop told her after that Lake Springfield at some points was nearly 30 feet surface to sandy bottom. And as she came to with a flailing start, a broken white carcass floated past the ineffectual windshield, shedding feathers that receded toward the point of impact. In the murk, there was something angelic in the image, as sun and bridge shrank from view. Kristen awoke entirely on her own power, tangling sheets and flinging pillows and slipping onto the naked wood floor. She grappled for the mattress and climbed trembling to her feet. The sounds began as she reached for the knob. A seemingly urgent rustling. Wood on wood, steps on ancient planks. Kristen twisted the knob, fairly fell into the hallway. The home was once a farmhouse, and a master bath had not even merited a thought. But now, she heard the presence in the attic begin to descend, and Kristen stumbled and pinballed off the walls, closing the gap between bedroom and toilet. As she slammed the door with her shoulder blades, the footfalls dopplered off toward the stairwell. Renee pursed her lips at Kristen's tardy entrance, but the look on the editor's face preempted any bon mot or chiding she might have at the ready. This time, the invasive concern that might have set Kristen off opened her up. "I don't know that's a rule or anything," the AA drawled as Kristen finished the abridged and edited version, nudging the steaming world's best porfritter mug toward her. "Though I don't think I ever died in a dream, so don't go by me. Hold up. Let's see what the Google says. Here we go. Dying can signify transformation or the end of something. Watching someone die in your dream can feel frighteningly realistic, but it's usually figurative. You might dream about someone dying if you're making big life changes, like leaving a job or ending a long-term relationship, for instance. Dreaming about dying can also motivate you to make a change that you've been putting off. For example, maybe you've been thinking about going back to school or repairing a broken relationship. That shit. I think they nailed it, girl. Ever since, you've been walking around here like a zombie, and you haven't said word one about the thing, or especially about Todd. Don't want you going off on me or anything, but maybe that was your literal wake-up call. You've been putting off getting on, you ask me, which you didn't. So hey, the big man needs you upstairs. Kristen nodded numbly. I'm a little confused, he began, after she'd settled onto his faux leather couch. You weren't here the other day, so I asked Oliver to forward me the prenatal piece. Perinatal? Kristen instinctively corrected her publisher. I know how you feel about such things, but I was curious if this clinic might be good for some future ad revenues. But then I thought something seemed odd as I got into the piece. He turned to his monitor. As a team of top Springfield area OB-GYNs prepare to unveil a state-of-the-art conception-to-cradle, high-touch, low-intervention perinatal clinic and birthing center, the mood in the capital might be characterized as, well, expectant. That sound familiar? Yes, as I was the first one to read it, and one of only 2 people to have a copy, until you, of course. He ignored the indictment and plucked an open magazine from his desk. A Springfield Hospital's proposed cutting-edge maternity suites have local women and women's health specialists, to say the least, expectant. Remember that? Refresh your memory. March 2008. Kristen was silent for a moment. Oh my God, seriously? How many pregnancy metaphors do you think there are? Just what are you trying to suggest? That Jenna plagiarized one of my obscure old features, even if she would have lifted my lead, which she would not. Wouldn't you think I'd notice? You apparently didn't. You didn't seem to remember writing it yourself. Now, the publisher was silent. What are you saying? He leaned back, creaking his overpriced throne for effect. This isn't the only similarity I've seen between your stories. So for my own peace of mind, I had personnel give me your girl's number. It had been disconnected, and when I investigated, turned out she's supposedly left town altogether. He adopted a pained, delicate expression. Now I know we don't pay top dollar. You think I'm double dipping? Kristen yelled, leaping from the cushions. Jen works from home, and she gets her copy to me on time and accurate. So I don't really give a shit where that home is. Maybe she should have let me know if she moved. But I understand she was in a difficult relationship, and she may not have wanted to air her laundry with me. Sit the fuck down, he rasped. Kristen stood her ground, panting in rage, and he sighed disgustedly. Sean tells me her last 2 checks haven't even cleared, and she's made no attempt to change over to electronic deposit like everybody else. I've been on her, but what am I supposed to do? And you say her checks haven't even cleared? That's certainly a brilliant scheme for me to cook up, isn't it? A publisher struck speechless is an editor/writer's wet dream. Kristen smiled malevolently and whipped out her iPhone. Here, I'm texting Jen right now and asking her to give you a call. And I'll get you her original email with the story Oliver obviously neglected to include. If you think I've created a phony IP address so I can scam the company for money I have no way of accessing, then be my fucking guest. Now, just calm, but Kristen already was on the other side of the castle door. Okay. Here's the thing. We were fighting when the car went off the bridge. I keep forgetting my phone automatically syncs with the Miata's Bluetooth. So I get this call, and I know who it is from the caller ID. So I pick up, not realizing it's about to go on speaker. I pretend it's a client, and then she comes on with a greeting. Well, suffice it to say, it left nothing to the imagination. And like I said, we had a knockdown/drag-out, verbally for God's sake, and we go into the water. After you're thrown from the car, Dr. Singh prompted. I still find it a miracle you survived. We were almost to the northern bank. I hit the water and bobbed up almost immediately, while Kristen landed, in a marshy area. Some dudes had been out fishing, and they got right to me. And since I'd busted the windshield when we smashed through the rail, and the sea was only half submerged, she was able to get out pretty easy. But yeah, miraculously, just a few scratches and some major trauma. Quite an experience to go through together. It can destroy or rebuild a relationship. We got some couples counseling. I promised to cut it off with Jen. That was her name. And we seemed to be back on our old rhythm. Shit. Kristen didn't even want to know Jen's name. Then Jen started calling again. I was honest with Kristen about it and told Jen to fuck off. She finally did, but things started getting worse instead of better. And Kristen was getting weirder, more withdrawn. I finally moved into my attic studio, but I can't seem to get more than a few hours every night. We can look at a prescription for that the counselor said. And this Jennifer? I had to change chiropractors, and she just, well, I guess you could say she's totally ghosted me. I had to get to a meeting with the printers, but I have to man up and tell you I'm just horribly, terribly sorry for what I suggested. Your Ms. Blackwood left me a voicemail. Nice girl. Young woman. And, well, I guess with your mentoring, it makes sense some of your style might have rubbed off. I'll leave your business to you, including however you want to deal with that rat prick, Oliver. Again, just horribly sorry. We'll talk tomorrow. So that was her boss, the detective said, tapping the stylus on Kristen's screen. We're trying to get in touch with him now. Wonder if she was suicidal? The partner murmured, leaning over the sill carefully, then yanking bank with a grimace. I mean, if she called in the tip on Blackwood, the detective shrugged as they moved outside under the tech's glare. 2 dead women. One looks like she's been in that pond 3-4 months. The other makes like a bird out her 4th floor window after making the anonymous call. And get a load of this text string. Thread, gimme, JB. You can't seriously. Never do that to you. K. Quit calling. JB. PLS. This is nuts. PLS. Come over. Talk this out. K. LV. Him alone. And then it cuts out for a few weeks. They must have talked it out. Or maybe did more than talking. You owe a me. You owe Emma. Credit. K. Where are you? Jumel. Credit. 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 Rue lonely tonight. Rue lonely. Rue lonely. I see you. 'Cause that ain't some creepy stalker shit. Just go on. K. Kanowski knows. It's over. I have to tell. I come over, talk this out. Jesus, you may want his number. Look at the dates. Todd took the Lake Springfield Bridge and the 94 exit with excess care. After the humiliation of confessing his sins, the string of missed calls from the Sangamon sheriffs, and the maddeningly ambiguous news that Kristen was both a person of interest and the victim of some mishap at the office wouldn't quite coalesce. The ringtone nearly caused him to go off the frontage road. He stabbed at the wheel. The voice from the dashboard was young, female, distant, solicitous, and yet something else. Are you lonely? The captives. I have been a prisoner in this camp for more than 1 year. Many of us have died, mostly at the hands of our captors, but some from disease and trauma. Somehow I have survived, but it hasn't been easy. They beat us mercilessly today with leather straps. At least 4 men surrounded us and whipped us. They yelled at us, "Move, you stinking beasts!" They made us run into a wooden structure, then locked us in. I was afraid they would light the structure on fire with us locked inside. But whipping is not the worst. One of the men used a red-hot iron on one of us. I will never forget the screams of agony from that poor chap. It left him with horrible burns. He died soon after. I would estimate there are about 100 of us in this part of the camp. There is a big turnover, with new inmates showing up daily. About every 5 days, about 10 inmates disappear and 10 new ones are brought in. We are given very simple food to eat, usually either a slurry of corn or a bucket of fetid mush. The captors often walk back and forth laughing at us as we try to eat. Most of the time we have to squeeze our heads through the bars on our cells in order to get to the food. The beatings and torture are bad, but there is something worse. Several female inmates came into the camp pregnant. When they gave birth, the men in charge immediately took the little one away, not even giving the mother a chance to see or bond with it. I can't think of anything more cruel. A few days ago, they came into our barracks and grabbed 4 unfortunate inmates. They used handheld electrified clubs and drove these 4 chaps out and into a separate building. We heard them screaming. But soon after that, there were 4 loud thuds, and then there was silence. One of our informants claims he witnessed the goings-on in there. He said he saw our compatriots hanging upside down by their legs, with their throats slit from one ear to the other. When word of this spread through the camp, there was a palpable wave of horror and panic. Detailing all the brutality and torture we have experienced seems like wasted energy. No one listens to us. There doesn't seem to be any end to this existence or hope for the future. Many of the inmates show signs of depression and severe anxiety. One inmate had been very quiet, but suddenly threw himself against the electrified fence, dying right there. The captors left him standing in his death, leaning against the fence with the full current flowing through his body, his legs twitching and spasming. We suspected that leaving him there was a message to us, not to disobey or try to escape, or that same type of destiny awaited us. Yesterday morning, a very important man visited the camp. We knew he was important because of the way he was dressed. Most of the workers in the camp wear casual clothes or military-style tactical outfits. This fellow was decked out in a 3-piece suit and had a leather overcoat slung loosely about his shoulders. He carried some type of cane or stick. A rumor spread quietly amongst the gathered that this man might be the one they call the Angel of Death. He had us line up for inspection. Any inmates not accurately in line met with an electrified club, ensuring obedience. While we were at attention, he strolled up and down the row, pointing his cane at a few of the inmates he favored. His assistant wrote down the chosen inmate's number, and once he left, those selected were taken away and led into the back of a large truck, never to be seen again. I sometimes stand quietly outside the barracks, and I can see life way off in the distance. There is a park not far from here. One can see people walking their dogs, picnicking or bicycling happily. I can even hear the laughter of children as they run through the park with their parents chasing after them. How beautiful, I think, would it be to stroll in a park, saunter down to a babbling brook up in the hills, or eat peacefully without the fear of violence. I know it's just a matter of a brief time until my life comes to an end. I've lived this nightmare existence longer than I expected. When I first arrived, other inmates told me I probably wouldn't last a month. But I have seen many come and go, to a fate unknown. It would be all too easy to give up all hope. But when all seems lost, one still has the right to dream. That is something they can never take away from us. My dream is to live long enough to see an end to this incarceration and torture, and perhaps even get home to my family, if they still exist. There doesn't seem to be any hope of escape. The camp is too cleverly constructed for that. In fact, in some inmates, there seems to be almost a sense of resignation and acceptance of their tragic existence. I believe they call that Stockholm Syndrome. Generally, our captors do not engage us in conversation or ask us anything. They usually just walk by, as if we don't exist. When we moo, they don't seem to understand what we are saying. I suspect they would at least try to communicate with us if we were human beings rather than cows. But today, uncharacteristically, one of my captors stopped at my cage to chat with me. He was one of the youngest of the men and sounded sensitive and caring, as strange as that may seem. But what he said really confused me. He mentioned that he doesn't eat meat and that he doesn't agree with the use of animals for food. I really didn't understand what he meant by that. After all, what is meat? Don't open the door. Did you really think you'd get away with this? I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you do. I saw you. I saw everything. What the hell are you talking about? I didn't do anything. Please don't play dumb. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The bag, the key, and that. Wait. You followed me? Followed you? No, I stumbled upon you. I didn't even know you were there until I saw you go inside. Inside where? Don't do this, please. Don't pretend you've forgotten. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. The basement, Marco. That damn basement. Why? What are you hiding down there? You're insane. You're spying on me and then making up stories. What was in the bag? What? The bag, Marco. What was in it? That's none of your business. That's not an answer. What was in the bag? Nothing that concerns you. You've already said that, but it's not true, is it? Because if it was nothing, why would you hide the bag in the basement? Stop this. I won't stop. Not until you tell me the truth. I told you. It's none of your business. If you don't want it to be my business, why won't you just tell me? Anything, Marco. Give me a reason to believe you. You don't have to believe me. Marco, please. What did you do? Nothing. Don't make me go down there. Don't. Don't what? Don't go down there. Why? What will you do if I go? Nothing. Just don't. Tell me what you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything. Don't lie to me. Your voice. I can hear it trembling. You know what? I'm going down there. No! Don't! Stop. Yelena, wait. Why should I stop, Marco? What will happen if I keep going? Please don't. Just stay here. I won't. I'm tired of your secrecy. I'm opening the door. Yelena, I'm telling you, don't touch that door. Why not? Because you won't be able to unsee what you see. What is that supposed to mean? What did you do, Marco? Nothing. It's not my fault. I didn't want this to happen. What didn't you want to happen? Whatever it is, it's too late to turn back now. I'm opening the door. Yelena, I'm begging you. Leave it closed. Begging me? You? After all the things you're hiding from me? This is your last chance, Marco. Tell me the truth, or I'm opening it. I can't tell you, but you wouldn't understand. What wouldn't I understand? That you did something? That you're hiding something terrible? You think I won't understand because I'm stupid? No, that's not it. It's just, please, don't open the door. That's all I'm asking. I'm opening it. Yelena, don't. What is this? Marco, what is this? I told you not to open it. Is this blood on the floor? Marco, this can't be real. Jelena, let's just get out of here. You don't have to look. Wait. This is the bag. Marco, what's inside? What's in this bag? Don't open it. Haven't you already learned that nothing will stop me? I'm opening it. Jelena, please, don't. Oh my God, Marco. This is... I know what it is. Whose arm is this, Marco? What the hell is going on here? It's not what you think. Then what is it? Please, explain. Because I see a severed arm in a bag, and I see blood. Explain this exclamation mark. I didn't kill her. Killed? Marco, you're insane. What murder? Severed arms don't fall from the sky. Who is this? I don't know her name. You don't know her name? Marco, are you out of your mind? It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. What didn't you mean to happen? What are you talking about? For her to die? Who to die? What happened, Marco? Tell me now, or I'm calling the police. No, you can't call the police. Why? Why not? This is murder, Marco. Or at least it looks like it. Tell me the truth. Yelena, I tried to save her. Save her? From what? From them. What others? Don't twist your words. Who are they? You won't believe me. Try me. Because right now, I think you're a dangerous lunatic who kills people. I didn't kill anyone. Whose arm is this, Marco? I told you I don't know her name, but I know it's not just hers. What does that mean? Not just hers? There are more. More of what? More people? More arms? What are you talking about? Them. They're here. They? Marco, stop with the riddles. Explain exclamation mark. I won't say anything. Not here. Not in front of them. In front of who? We're alone. We're not alone, Yelena. We're never alone. Marco, who are they? Stop with the riddles and tell me what's going on. I can't tell you. If you find out, they'll find out. Who will find out? What are you talking about? Do you even realize how insane you sound? Insane? Jelena, if you knew what I know, you'd never sleep again. Stop it. I don't believe in your fantasies. This is the real world, Marco. This is blood. This is an arm. This is... Wait, what's this on the floor? This looks like a symbol. Marco, what is this? Don't look at it. Don't look at it? I've already seen it, Marco. It looks like a pentagram or something. Are you in a cult? Is this some kind of sickness? Are you a murderer? I'm not a murderer. Stop accusing me of things you don't understand. Then explain. Stop being silent and explain. Because I can't take this anymore. Fine. Fine. You want the truth? I'll tell you. But you won't like it. Try me. Anything is better than this uncertainty. They're not human. What? They're not human. What you see, what you feel, those aren't human beings. They're something else. Marco, do you even hear how crazy that sounds? No wonder you're paranoid. You're talking about what? Demons? Monsters? Stop it. I'm not crazy. Yelena, this isn't the first time this has happened. They've been here for years, decades, maybe even centuries, and no one knows until it's too late. What the hell are you talking about? Their rules are clear. You don't speak of them. You don't touch their victims. And if you break the rules, you're next. Marco, you're talking about this as if it's real. But this is just, I don't know, some kind of paranoid story. There is no they. These are your hallucinations. Does this look like a hallucination, Yelena? Look at the blood on the floor. Look at the arm. Do you really think I'd make all of this up? But that doesn't prove they're demons or whatever you're claiming. This could be, I don't know, the mafia, a cult, someone real. I wish it was, but it's not. It's not something you can understand until you see them. I see blood, Marco. I see the symbol on the floor. But none of that proves your story. This is madness. Pure madness. Jelena, just listen to me. If you want to get out of here alive, you need to stop digging deeper. They already know you're here. Marco, this is too much. I'm calling the police. I can't do this alone. You can't call the police. Yelena, they can't help. Why? Why not? Because the police have already tried, and there isn't a single officer who's walked out of this basement alive. Stop it. Listen to yourself, Marco. This is... Shh. Yelena, quiet. What? Do you hear that? I don't hear anything. Marco, stop it. Quiet, Yelena. They're coming. Who's coming? Stop it. Stop playing games. Yelena, please, don't breathe too loudly. Just stay still. What? What is that sound? Marco. What is it? I told you not to open the door. Now you've woken them. Who are they, Marco? What is that? What are those lights? Those eyes? I told you. Marco, what's happening? It's too late, Yelena. It's too late. No, Marco, don't do this. Don't leave me here. I'm sorry. You have to face this alone. No, don't. Marco, don't leave. Marco. Yelena, listen to me. Listen carefully. Stay still. Don't move. If you stay still and don't make a sound, maybe they won't see you. What? What won't see me? Marco, what are these creatures? These eyes? These hands? What the hell am I looking at? Don't look at them. Don't look into their eyes. But they're everywhere. What do I do? How do I not look? Yelena, just close your eyes. Breathe deeply. They can sense fear. The more you're afraid, the closer they'll come. How can I not be afraid? Marco, what are these things? I told you, they're not human. They're things. Even I don't know exactly what they are. I just know they're not from this world. You're insane. You're completely insane. This isn't real. This is a dream. It has to be a dream. Jelena, this isn't a dream. If it were, you wouldn't feel the cold. You wouldn't feel their breath on your neck. What? What did you just say? On my neck. Don't turn around. Ah, Marco! They're here. I see them. Don't look into their eyes, Jelena. I told you. Close your eyes. I can't. There are too many of them. They're staring at me. Jelena, calm down. Breathe. You have to breathe. Marco, they're getting closer. Marco, please help me. I can't. They've already seen you. What? What does that mean? Marco, tell me what that means. It means it's over. There's nothing I can do. It's too late. No, don't say that. There has to be a way. There's a way out, right? The only way was to never wake them. Please, I can't do this. Marco, they're touching me. Marco, don't scream. Don't give them a reason. I can't take it anymore. Ah! Jelena. No exclamation mark. Marco, they're pulling me. Marco, help me. Help me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't leave me. Don't. Jelena, forgive me. No, Marco. Ah, I told you not to open the door. Delta 928, Captain David Starnes. Morning, Pete. How are you doing today? Co-pilot, Peter Markley. Oh, I'm good. Just glad I made it on time. Traffic was a bitch this morning. How are you, Captain? Starnes. Feeling just fine. Once I fly this turn, I have the next 3 days off, and me and Jenny are going out to Sedona to play some golf and enjoy the spa at the Hilton. Markley. Sounds nice. I'm on for the next 4 days at least. Starnes. Hey, do me a favor. I have to call home real quick. Ask Marcy to bring up some coffee for us, and then we can start with the pre-flight routine. We're scheduled to be nose up in about 20. Markley. Will do, Captain. Pause. Hey, Marcy, can you please bring up 2 cups of coffee? Muffled response. Thanks. Get one for yourself, too. It's on me. Starnes. Hey, Jenny. I just wanted to let you know that I didn't have time to get the laundry into the dryer. The washer was still running when I had to leave. Just wanted to let you know. I'll call you when we touch down in Chicago. Love you. Markley. Well, ain't that sweet. Senior Flight Attendant Marcy Nichols. Here you are, gentlemen. Can I get you anything else? Starnes. Thanks. I'm good. Markley. Same here. Thanks, Marcy. How are we looking back there? Nichols. We're almost ready. Just a few more passengers getting settled. We should be able to do the final cabin walkthrough in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Markley. Sounds good. We'll be right here waiting for your thumbs up. Nichols. Be back soon. Dead air for 32 seconds, with the exception of a brief cough. Starnes. All right, let's check it down. Auxiliary fuel pump. Markley. Off. Starnes. Flight controls. Markley. Free and correct. Starnes. Instruments and radios. Markley. Checked and set. Starnes. Landing gear position lighting. Markley. Checked. Markley. Altimeter. Starnes. Set. Markley. Directional gyro. Starnes. Set. Markley. Fuel gauges. Starnes. Checked. Markley. Trim. Markley. Set. Starnes. Magnetos. Markley. Checked. Starnes. Engine idle. Markley. Checked. Starnes. Flaps. Markley. In position. Starnes. Seat belts. Shoulder harnesses. Markley. Fastened. Starnes. Parking brake. Markley. Off. Starnes. All right. We are good to go. 24 seconds of dead air. Markley. You heard the latest on Kendall? Starnes. What a mess. It wasn't just alcohol, you know. He tested positive for cocaine too, and they found some in his suitcase. Markley. I heard his wife left him after Delta shit-canned him. What the hell happened to that guy? Starnes. Who can say? Kendall was a solid pilot and a good enough guy most of the time, but he definitely has a short fuse, and he likes to drink. I saw him deck a guy in the bar at the Sheraton in Atlanta one night over something that was really nothing at all. I kept my distance from him after that. I wasn't really too surprised when everything blew up that day, to be honest. Seems like he's just in a tailspin now. He was in jail until just a couple of days ago. Out on bail now, I heard. Markley. Yeah. I feel bad, though. He seemed like a decent guy to me, but I couldn't let him take off that morning. He literally stumbled into the cockpit reeking of booze, slurred speech. He fell asleep about a minute after he took his seat. Miranda was the senior flight crew member that day, and she noticed it right away. Starnes, you did the right thing. I wouldn't give it a second thought. Markley. Yeah, I know. I just feel bad for the guy. Starnes. Don't? Not your problem. How are we looking back there? Markley. Marcy's walking this way now. They look like they're all settled in. Nichols. Okay, guys. We are all set. Markley. Thanks, Marcy. Ready for takeoff. Starnes over cabin intercom. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard Delta Airlines Flight 928 from Phoenix to Chicago O'Hare. Our flight time today should be 3 hours and 22 minutes. The weather looks good the whole way, so it should be a smooth flight, but we will notify you if we expect any turbulence. Your flight crew members will be coming through the cabin with an assortment of snacks and beverages once we level off. We'd like to thank you for flying Delta Airlines. We are third for takeoff, and we should be in the air shortly. Sound of jet thrusters increasing and decreasing for next 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Muffled dialogue between pilot and co-pilot. PHX Tower. Air Traffic Controller, Mike Reynolds, over radio. Delta 928, you are clear for takeoff. Sound of increased volume of jet thrust for next 12 minutes and 35 seconds. Starnes. All right, we are up and running. Activating autopilot. Dead air for next 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Reynolds, over radio. Delta 928. Please adjust your altitude to 32,500 feet. Markley. Copy. Descending to 32,500 feet. Dead air for next 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Markley. How's that course at the Sedona Hilton? I've played a few of those courses out there, but not that one. Starnes. Ah, you know. They're all kind of the same. Pretty wide open. The greens are usually pretty fast, though, so that can hurt you. It's nice, though. Well maintained. Markley. I gotta get out there next time. Haven't played much this year. I'm scared to find out where my handicap really is right now. At least an 18. Starnes, chuckling. I brought in a 78 with 4 birdies at Sun Valley last week. Markley. Nice shooting. You gotta teach me how to keep it in the fairway. My drives are all over the place, I swear. Dead air for next 54 seconds. Starnes. This is my 3rd turn in the last 24 hours. All right with you, if I catch a little shut-eye for a while? Markley. No problem, Captain. I'll rouse you back up if necessary. Starnes. Thanks, Pete. Dead air for next 54 minutes and 22 seconds. Sound of knocking on cabin door. Sound of door opening. Nichols, gasping and speaking quietly. I'm so sorry. He made me open the door. He has a knife. Former Delta Airlines pilot, Marcus Kendall. Enough. You've done your part. Just give me all those little whiskey bottles and get back there and keep everything cool. If I hear one sound near that cabin door, everyone is going to regret it quickly. Remember, if I kill these two, then I'm the only one left to land this plane. Overlapped with sounds of motion, as well as inaudible comments from Starnes and Markley, followed by the closing of the cockpit door. Starnes. Marcus. What the fuck? What is this? Kendall. This has nothing to do with you, Dave. I'm here to see Pete. Here. Take this, though. Sounds of a struggle followed by painful gasps, cries, and heavy breathing for next 18 seconds from Starnes. Shouting from Markley. Markley. Jesus, Kendall. What the hell are you doing? Stop. Kendall. You better get back into that co-pilot seat before you get hurt, Pete. I think we both know how a fight between me and you would end, even if I didn't have this knife. And Delta suspended the federal flight deck program 3 months ago after that incident in Salt Lake City, so I know you don't have a gun in this cockpit. Besides, I'm here to speak with you. This doesn't involve Dave. He was an asshole anyway. I need this seat. Sounds of seatbelt unclicking, followed by a thud. Kendall. Shit. Look at all the blood in this seat. Give me your jacket. I gotta wipe this up a little. Markley. How did you even get on this flight? How did you get a knife on board? Kendall. I worked for this airline for 17 years, Pete. You don't think I know how to get around? You don't think I know some people who will help me out if I hand them $500 cash? Baggage handlers make shit for pay, you know? It's a pretty thankless job. Those guys aren't exactly rocket scientists. Dead air for next 16 seconds. Markley. Christ, Marcus. What are you doing? Kendall. I came to talk to you, Pete, about what you did, and don't even think about triggering that handset. God help me. If I hear a 7,500 squawk come out of your mouth, I'm gonna cut off your right thumb. Don't test me. Look at Dave down there. You think I'm fucking around? Markley. I won't. I swear I won't. Kendall. Good. This won't take long here. Looks like we will be over Denver in just a few minutes. Markley. Why Denver? Are you gonna land us at DIA? Kendall. Not exactly, but close. We'll get to that. First, let me ask you something. You are a licensed and qualified pilot with plenty of experience flying the Boeing 737, yes? Markley. Yeah, sure. Not as much as you, but yeah. Kendall. So, on that morning when you called security to come into the cockpit to wake me up and drag me away, leading to me ending up in jail and losing my job along with my wife and 2 kids, you could have just covered for me, right? Markley. Hey, you know the airline's policies. Plus, the flight crew already knew you were in no condition to fly. If they call security before I do, then I'm in it with you. Kendall. Yeah, so you just decided to ruin my life instead of taking that chance. That's what I thought. You are a little pussy, Pete. Do you know that? I bet you've been a little pussy for your whole life. Markley. Marcus, we're losing altitude fast. We are well below 20,000 feet, and we are way off our flight path. Dead air for next 22 seconds. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 15,000 feet. Markley. Marcus, we need to pull up right away. Dead air for next 14 seconds. Kendall. You know what, Pete? I don't really care what you have to say. I just wanted to be here with you for the end. I was originally planning to fly us straight into one of those high sheer cliffs up in the Rockies, but then I came up with a better plan. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 12,000 feet. DIA Tower, Air Traffic Controller. Miles Cordry, Delta 928. We are showing you coming towards downtown Denver and descending below 10,000 feet. Are you in distress? Do you need us to clear a runway for you at DIA? Kendall, kill that speaker. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 8,000 feet. Kendall, I know you can't kill that one. Anyway, rather than just pushing us into a mountain face, I decided it would be more fun to do this. Sound of increased wind shear, muffled screaming coming from the cabin. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning! Altitude! Warning! Altitude! 6,000 feet. Markley. Jesus, Kendall. Please pull up on that stick. We are almost nose down, and we won't be able to pull out of this dive if you don't do it now. Please, don't do this. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 5,000 feet. Kendall. You see that down there, Pete? You see that? I timed it pretty damn good, didn't I? That's downtown Denver right there. I don't know if I should target one of those tall buildings or try to put us down on a busy street. I guess I'll just have to play it as a last-minute decision. You got a preference? Markley. Dear God, Marcus. No. Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 3,000 feet. Kendall. I was considering it, and I just thought it would be better to put us down here rather than up there in the mountains. This way, there will be some good collateral damage and lots of great fiery video reels for the news. People love watching other people die in horrific ways when they watch the news, you know. That's basically what they tune in for, mostly, Pete. Let's give the people what they want today. Markley. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, and blessed are... Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 2,000 feet. Kendall, over cabin intercom. People, you might want to buckle up and return your seats to the upright position. We will be making an unscheduled landing in downtown Denver in about 30 seconds, and I think it's going to be a rough one. Markley. And blessed? Blessed are thou among, gasp, women, and blessed is the fruit of... Automated voice from instrument panel. Warning. Altitude. Warning. Altitude. 1,000 feet. Kendall. Open your eyes, Pete. Open your eyes. You don't want to miss this. Look at all those cars and people down there. We are going to be front page news. Here we go. Here we go, Pete. Count it down with me. Come on now. 3, 2, 1. Don't open the door. Did you really think you'd get away with this? I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you do. I saw you. I saw everything. What the hell are you talking about? I didn't do anything. Please, don't play dumb. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The bag, the key, and that... Wait. You followed me? Followed you? No, I stumbled upon you. I didn't even know you were there until I saw you go inside. Inside where? Don't do this, please. Don't pretend you've forgotten. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. The basement, Marco, that damn basement. Why? What are you hiding down there? You're insane. You're spying on me and then making up stories. What was in the bag? What? The bag, Marco. What was in it? That's none of your business. That's not an answer. What was in the bag? Nothing that concerns you. You've already said that, but it's not true, is it? Because if it was nothing, why would you hide the bag in the basement? Stop this. I won't stop. Not until you tell me the truth. I told you? It's none of your business. If you don't want it to be my business, why won't you just tell me? Anything, Marco. Give me a reason to believe you. You don't have to believe me. Marco, please. What did you do? Nothing. Don't make me go down there. Don't. Don't what? Don't go down there. Why? What will you do if I go? Nothing. Just don't. Tell me what you're hiding. I'm not hiding anything. Don't lie to me. Your voice, I can hear it trembling. You know what? I'm going down there. No, don't. Stop. Yelena, wait. Why should I stop, Marco? What will happen if I keep going? Please don't. Just stay here. I won't. I'm tired of your secrecy. I'm opening the door. Yelena, I'm telling you, don't touch that door. Why not? Because you won't be able to unsee what you see. What is that supposed to mean? What did you do, Marco? Nothing. It's not my fault. I didn't want this to happen. What didn't you want to happen? Whatever it is, it's too late to turn back now. I'm opening the door. Yelena, I'm begging you. Leave it closed. Begging me? You? After all the things you're hiding from me? This is your last chance, Marco. Tell me the truth, or I'm opening it. I can't tell you, but you wouldn't understand. What wouldn't I understand? That you did something? That you're hiding something terrible? You think I won't understand because I'm stupid? No, that's not it. It's just, please, don't open the door. That's all I'm asking. I'm opening it. Yelena, don't. What is this? Marco, what is this? I told you not to open it. Is this blood? On the floor? Marco, this can't be real. Yelena, let's just get out of here. You don't have to look. Wait, this is the bag. Marco, what's inside? What's in this bag? Don't open it. Haven't you already learned that nothing will stop me? I'm opening it. Yelena, please, don't. Oh my God, Marco, this is... I know what it is. Whose arm is this, Marco? What the hell is going on here? It's not what you think. Then what is it? Please explain, because I see a severed arm in a bag, and I see blood. Explain this exclamation mark. I didn't kill her. Killed? Marco, you're insane. What murder? Severed arms don't fall from the sky. Who is this? I don't know her name. You don't know her name? Marco, are you out of your mind? It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. What didn't you mean to happen? What are you talking about? For her to die? Who to die? What happened, Marco? Tell me now, or I'm calling the police. No, you can't call the police. Why? Why not? This This is murder, Marco. Or at least it looks like it. Tell me the truth. Yelena, I tried to save her. Save her? From what? From them. What others? Don't twist your words. Who are they? You won't believe me. Try me. Because right now, I think you're a dangerous lunatic who kills people. I didn't kill anyone. Whose arm is this, Marco? I told you I don't know her name. But I know it's not just hers. What does that mean? Not just hers. There are more. More of what? More people? More arms? What are you talking about? Them. They're here. They! Marco, stop with the riddles. Explain exclamation mark. I won't say anything. Not here. Not in front of them. In front of who? We're alone. We're not alone, Yelena. We're never alone. Marco, who are they? Stop with the riddles and tell me what's going on. I can't tell you. If you find out, they'll find out. Who will find out? What are you talking about? Do you even realize how insane you sound? Insane? Jelena, if you knew what I know, you'd never sleep again. Stop it. I don't believe in your fantasies. This is the real world, Marco. This is blood. This is an arm. This is... Wait, what's this on the floor? This looks like a symbol. Marco, what is this? Don't look at it. Don't look at it. I've already seen it, Marco. It looks like a pentagram or something. Are you in a cult? Is this some kind of sickness? Are you a murderer? I'm not a murderer. Stop accusing me of things you don't understand. Then explain. Stop being silent and explain. Because I can't take this anymore. Fine, fine. You want the truth? I'll tell you. But you won't like it. Try me. Anything is better than this uncertainty. They're not human. What? They're not human. What you see, what you feel, those aren't human beings. They're something else. Marco, do you even hear how crazy that sounds? No wonder you're paranoid. You're talking about, what? Demons? Monsters? Stop it. I'm not crazy. Yelena, this isn't the first time this has happened. They've been here for years, decades, maybe even centuries, and no one knows until it's too late. What the hell are you talking about? Their rules are clear. You don't speak of them. You don't touch their victims. And if you break the rules, you're next. Marco, you're talking about this as if it's real, but this is just, I don't know, some kind of paranoid story. There is no they. These are your hallucinations. Does this look like a hallucination, Yelena? Look at the blood on the floor. Look at the arm. Do you really think I'd make all of this up? But that doesn't prove they're demons or whatever you're claiming. This could be, I don't know, the mafia, a cult, someone real. I wish it was. But it's not. It's not something you can understand until you see them. I see blood, Marco. I see the symbol on the floor. But none of that proves your story. This is madness. Pure madness. Yelena, just listen to me. If you want to get out of here alive, you need to stop digging deeper. They already know you're here. Marco, this is too much. I'm calling the police. I can't do this alone. You can't call the police. Yelena, they can't help. Why? Why not? Because the police have already tried, and there isn't a single officer who's walked out of this basement alive. Stop it. Listen to yourself, Marco. This is... Shh. Yelena, quiet. What? Do you hear that? I don't hear anything. Marco, stop it. Quiet, Yelena. They're coming. Who's coming? Stop it. Stop playing games. Yelena, please, don't breathe too loudly. Just stay still. What? What is that sound? Marco, what is it? I told you not to open the door. Now you've woken them. Who are they, Marco? What is that? What are those lights? Those eyes? I told you. Marco, what's happening? It's too late, Yelena. It's too late. No, Marco, don't do this. Don't leave me here. I'm sorry. You have to face this alone. No, don't. Marco, don't leave. Marco. Marco. Yelena, listen to me. Listen carefully. Stay still. Don't move. If you stay still and don't make a sound, maybe they won't see you. What? What won't see me? Marco, what are these? These creatures? These eyes? These hands? What the hell am I looking at? Don't look at them. Don't look into their eyes. But they're everywhere. What do I do? How do I not look? Yelena, just close your eyes. Breathe deeply. They can sense fear. The more you're afraid, the closer they'll come. How can I not be afraid? Marco, what are these things? I told you, they're not human. They're things. Even I don't know exactly what they are. I just know they're not from this world. You're insane. You're completely insane. This isn't real. This is a dream. It has to be a dream. Yelena, this isn't a dream. If it were, you wouldn't feel the cold. You wouldn't feel their breath on your neck. What? What did you just say? On my neck? Don't turn around. Ah! Marco, they're here. I see them. Don't look into their eyes, Yelena. I told you, close your eyes. I can't. There are too many of them. They're staring at me. Yelena, calm down. Breathe. You have to breathe. Marco, they're getting closer. Marco, please, help me. I can't. They've already seen you. What? What does that mean? Marco, tell me what that means. It means it's over. There's nothing I can do. It's too late. No, don't say that. There has to be a way. There's a way out, right? The only way was to never wake them. Please, I can't do this. Marco, they're touching me. Marco, don't scream. Don't give them a reason. I can't. I can't take it anymore. Ah! Yelena, no exclamation mark. Marco, they're pulling me. Marco, help me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't leave me. Don't. Yelena, forgive me. No, Marco. Ah! I told you not to open the door. Insatiable, Part 2. Her voice, trembling, cut through the silence. Daddy? The words scraped against something deep inside me, something buried under the roar of the hunger. My body moved before I could think, lurching forward, one decayed hand reaching. Her face twisted in horror as she stumbled back, pressing herself against the wall. "No, Daddy, stop. Stop. Please, God, stop." But I couldn't. The hunger tore through me, relentless, demanding. Her heartbeat echoed in my ears, a steady drum calling me forward. I reached for her, my jagged breath wheezing like rusted hinges. Her tears glistened in the dim light, her small hands trembling as she held them up, useless shields against what I was about to do. I was almost on her when the memory hit, sharp and blinding. Her tiny hand in mine, sticky with melted ice cream, her laughter bubbling up as she looked at me, wide-eyed with trust. "I love you, Daddy." The memory burned, more painful than the hunger. I stopped mid-lunge, my clawed hand hanging inches from her face. "Get away from her!" Emily's voice rang out, fierce and trembling. She barreled into me with all her strength, the impact jarring but barely enough to move me. A flash of silver caught the weak light. She had a knife. Emily. My voice was a wet croak, unrecognizable. She slashed at me, the blade tearing into the rotted flesh of my shoulder. I didn't feel it. She planted herself between Grace and me, her chest heaving, her eyes locked on mine. "You won't touch her," she spat, the fear in her voice barely hidden under the force of her words. Emily shouted without turning, her voice ragged. "Go, Grace! Don't look back!" Grace hesitated, her tiny figure trembling, then bolted down the stairs. "Run, Grace. Run far away from me, baby." The sound of Grace's retreating footsteps faded, leaving only Emily and me in the suffocating silence. She squared her shoulders, her trembling hand gripping the knife like it could keep the darkness at bay. The hallway narrowed as Emily stepped forward, knife trembling in her hand. The dim light from the shattered bulb above flickered across her face, her jaw tight, her eyes locked on mine. "Stay back," she said, her voice steady, even as the blade shook. "Stop! Stop! Please, God, stop me. This is my love. This is my life." It wouldn't let me stop. The hunger surged like a wave, driving me forward. My rotting legs dragged against the floor, my fingers twitching as they reached for her. I screamed at my body to stop, but it kept going. "Stop. Please, for God's sake, stop." But the hunger roared. It was a force, pulling my body like strings on a marionette. Emily lunged forward, slashing the knife, the blade slicing into my forearm. A wet sound, something that used to be flesh tearing open, oozing dark, thick rot. I didn't feel it. Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second. She'd been expecting pain, a reaction, but there was nothing. "David, listen to me." Emily's voice broke as she stabbed again, tears streaking her face. "You're in there. I know you are. You love us. You love Grace." But her words barely reached through the roaring hunger, and my hands moved without me, reaching for her. Her expression faltered, the resolve cracking just slightly, but she gripped the knife tighter. She stepped back, placing herself fully between me and stairs. I lunged. The knife slashed again, this time catching my ribs. I felt the wet scrape of the blade against bone, the sound sharper than the pain I couldn't feel. She screamed for Grace again, her voice raw and desperate. "Run, baby! Run!" Grace's sobs echoed from the bottom of the staircase, her small figure darting out of sight. I lunged, my decayed fingers closing around Emily, seizing her in a moment when her eyes flicked toward Grace. A heartbeat of distraction was all the hunger needed to strike. Emily screamed, her voice cracking into something raw and animalistic. Her fists pounded against my chest, each blow weaker than the last. Her nails raked my skin, peeling away rotted flesh, exposing yellowed bone. She twisted, fought, but I held her like a vice. Her body was warm, so warm, it burned against the rod of my hands. Her eyes locked on mine, wide and terrified. For half a heartbeat, I thought I could stop. Then the hunger surged again, tearing through me. My body moved before I could think. My teeth sank into her neck, tearing through skin and muscle with a sickening wet snap. Hot blood surged into my mouth, metallic and thick, spilling down my throat in waves. The taste was fire and ecstasy, searing through what little humanity was left in me, and I hated how good it felt. Emily's scream turned into a gurgle, her hands clawing at my face, pushing weakly as I tore deeper. Stop. 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 But I couldn't. The hunger was everything. Her body jerked once, then stilled. Her blood ran warm and steady over my hands, pooling at my feet. Her lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear, couldn't understand. Her eyes found mine, wide and glassy, but there was something else there, a flicker of recognition, a memory, love, maybe, or disgust. Then it was gone. The light in her eyes snuffed out, leaving only the dull, empty stare of the dead. I let her fall, her body crumpling to the floor like something broken, discarded. My hands shook, slick with her blood, her warmth already fading. I wanted to scream, to claw at myself, to rip this hunger out of me with my bare hands. But there was nothing left, nothing but the hunger and her lifeless body at my feet. Emily, I tried to whisper, the word choking in my throat. Black ooze dripped from my mouth, pooling with her blood on the cold, unforgiving floor, the hunger inside me roaring in triumph. No! What have I done? Then I heard it, a small, sharp gasp. Grace. I turned, my body sluggish. She stood at the base of the stairs, her small hand clutching the railing. Her eyes were wide, red from crying, her face pale. "Daddy?" she whispered. Her voice cracked something inside me that should have died with Emily. I tried to speak, to tell her I was sorry. But when I opened my mouth, all that came out was a moan, wet and broken. Black ooze dripped from my chin, pooling at my feet. Grace screamed, her voice breaking into choking sobs. "Mommy! No, Mommy, please!" She stumbled back, gripping the railing as if it could hold her world together. My chest, if I still had one, felt like it was caving in, but the hunger didn't care. It surged again, pulling me toward her. "Graksh," I croaked, the word barely intelligible, but she heard it. And she turned and ran, her small figure disappearing into the dark. I stumbled forward, my body following her scent, even as my mind begged for the darkness to take me. The hunger stirred again, twisting inside me, demanding I follow. I looked down at Emily. Her blood was still warm on my hands, her lifeless body crumpled and broken at my feet. I am losing everything. The hunger didn't care. It roared, pulling me to my feet, dragging me after Grace. Number, please, let her go. But the hunger will never let go. The street stretched out before me, empty and cold. My feet drag against the pavement, leaving wet, dark smears behind. The hunger had quieted, but it wasn't gone. It never was. It coiled beneath my skin, waiting for the next surge. I stumbled past darkened houses, their windows like hollow eyes. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked, sharp and frantic. I froze, listening, but the sound faded into the hum of distant traffic. What am I doing? Emily's face swam before me, frozen in that final, lifeless stare. Her blood still clung to my hands, thick and sticky. My body ached, not from the fight, but from something deeper, a guilt so heavy it made every step feel like wading through tar. Then a flash. Sterile white walls. A row of test tubes, their labels blurred and meaningless. A shattered vial, the liquid spreading across my face and hands like blood. I stumbled, my shoulder hitting a street lamp. The cold metal bit into my decayed skin, snapping me back to the present. The hunger stirred, hissing in my ears, but the memory clawed its way back, stronger now. We shouldn't push this far. My own voice, frantic, echoed in my head. I could almost feel the heat of a lab, the hum of machinery. But the memory didn't stay. It bled, twisting into something else. Emily laughing, a steaming cup of coffee in her hand, her hair falling loose around her face. Grace on the living room floor, cradling her teddy bear, her smile lighting up the room. Stop, don't think about them. The hunger seized those memories, warping them. Emily's laughter turned into her scream. Grace's smile faded, replaced by wide, terrified eyes. I doubled over, gripping my knees. The hunger whispered, "Keep moving. She's still out there." I obeyed. The woods were silent except for the sound of my feet dragging through the underbrush. The world was muffled here, the thick canopy of trees blotting out the moonlight, the air heavy with damp earth and rot. My breath, or what passed for it, came in short, ragged bursts. The hunger had returned, gnawing at my insides like a rabid animal. Then I saw her. At first, it was just a shadow, something flickering between the trees. But as I stepped closer, the shape took form. Emily. Number. It can't be. She stood with her back to me, her head tilted at an odd angle. Her clothes hung in tatters where I had shredded them, dark stains splattered across her blouse. Her arms hung stiffly at her sides, and her posture was too rigid, too dead. Emily? But voice cracked, low and growling. She turned. Her eyes were clouded, a milky gray that seemed to pierce straight through me. Her skin, once smooth and warm, sagged in loose patches, exposing butchered flesh. Her mouth hung open slightly, lips cracked and blackened. For a moment, I thought I was hallucinating. My mind had been slipping since the hunger took hold, twisting memories into cruel replicas of reality. But this wasn't a memory. She was here, standing in front of me. She wasn't human anymore. My hands trembled as I stepped closer. Her head tilted further, her movements jerky, like a puppet with tangled strings. Her gaze locked on mine, and something flickered in her expression, a shadow of recognition. The hunger in me stirred, hissing and coiling like a living thing. I could feel it inside her too, like a heat radiating from her decayed form. It linked us, bound us in a way that no words could. She took a step forward, her movements uneven, but deliberate. I didn't move. I couldn't. Her mouth opened, and a low, gurgling sound emerged. Half a growl, half a moan. She took another step, then stopped. We stood there, facing each other. Then the sound of footsteps broke the silence. A man appeared on the path, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. He was walking a dog, a large, lumbering thing that barked at the sight of us. The man froze, his eyes darting between me and Emily. The hunger surged, roaring in my ears. My body moved before I could think, lurching toward him. Emily moved too, a grotesque mirror of my movements. The man screamed as we collided with him, our hands tearing at his clothes, his flesh. His flashlight clattered to the ground, the beam illuminating the scene in harsh, stuttering flashes. I felt my teeth sink into his shoulder, the hot rush of blood filling my mouth. Beside me, Emily clawed at his chest, her fingers digging deep into his skin. The dog barked frantically, pulling at its leash, but the man's screams drowned out everything else. His warmth seeped into me, dulling the hunger for a brief, fleeting moment. I turned to Emily. Her face was smeared with blood, her eyes still clouded but alive with something primal. We fed together, tearing him apart piece by piece. His screams faded, replaced by the wet, sickening sounds of flesh being ripped from bone. When it was over, we stood there, our bodies slick with blood, the man's lifeless form crumpled between us. The dog had fled, its leash trailing behind it. Emily looked at me, her head tilting again. The recognition was still there, faint but undeniable. This wasn't love. It was something else, something twisted and monstrous. But in that moment, it felt like we were connected, bound by the hunger and the carnage we'd wrought together. I wanted to scream, to claw my way out of this nightmare. But all I could do was stare at her and wonder how much further I could fall. The first one appeared the next night. Emily and I had just finished. A man in a suit stumbling from a bar, his tie loose around his neck. His screams were already fading, his body crumpled on the ground when the hunger in me finally dulled. I was wiping the blood from my face when I felt it. A shift in the air, subtle but undeniable. I turned, and there he was. He shouldn't have been moving. His chest was ripped open, his throat little more than a mangled red mess. But his head twitched, then turned toward us. His eyes were empty, the sockets ringed with blood, but something stared out of them. Emily tilted her head, mirroring his movement. A low sound came from her throat. The man stood, jerking upright as if pulled by invisible strings. My legs felt weak, shaking beneath the weight of what I was seeing. But then another appeared, and another. The woman from the gas station, the jogger by the park, faces I hadn't let myself remember, all shuffling forward, their limbs twisted. The sound they made, a low, gravely moan, layered and deep, wasn't noise. It was communication. And I realized the truth. They weren't individuals. They were connected, not to each other, but to the hunger, to me, to us. I looked at Emily, her blood-streaked face impassive, and I knew we were leading them, guiding them. Grace. The hunger stirred, roaring with purpose. I turned toward the dark horizon, where she was still running, still hiding. The horde moved with me, their jerking steps falling into rhythm. We stand at the edge of the hill, the town sprawled out below us like a patchwork of light and shadow. Street lamps flicker, faint and distant, their glow seeping through the trees. The hunger twists inside me, relentless, pulling me forward. Beside me, Emily twitches, her bloodied hand jerking at her side, her head tilting toward the lights. She growls low, her broken body still and yet coiled, ready. For a fleeting moment, something stirs, a memory, faint but sharp. Grace's laughter as she spun in the backyard, her hands outstretched to the sky. Emily leaning against the doorframe, smiling, her hair catching the sunlight. My family, but the hunger shreds it, devours it. I glance at Emily, her clouded eyes fixed on the town, her mouth twisted into something between a snarl and a grin. The bond between us is no longer love, it's need, endless, insatiable. The horde gathers behind us, their collective presence amplifying the pull. I feel their hunger like it's my own. Emily tilts her head toward them, growling in unison. There's no division between us now, just a single relentless instinct binding us together. The lights of the town seem closer, brighter. The scent of life hangs in the air, thick and intoxicating. The hunger whispers, louder now, surging with the weight of the others. The mantra swells in my mind, stronger than before. Grace, grace, grace. Then, music. It drifts up the hill, cutting through the cool night air. The horde behind me stills, their jerking movements halting as the sound reaches them too. I shuffle closer to the edge of the hill. The source of the sound becomes clear, a parade winding through the heart of the town. A line of floats glinting in the glow of street lamps. The faint murmur of a crowd rises and falls, a tide of laughter and cheers. A girl, perched high on a float, her silhouette framed by an arch of shimmering lights. She wears a crown, its rhinestones catching the light in sharp, brilliant flashes. Homecoming. The word slides into my thoughts like an echo from another life, a memory scraped raw by the hunger. The horde stirs, their murmurs rising into a single, unified sound, a deep groan that ripples through the trees like a storm wind. The parade below doesn't hear it, their cheers drowning out the first whispers of doom. Emily lunges forward, and the horde follows, their shuffling steps gaining momentum. The trees shake with their movements, the ground trembling as the mass of us begins to descend. The hunger in me surges, unrelenting, unstoppable. The distance between us and the town closes, the fragile tether of memory slipping from my grasp. Grace. The name whispers through my mind one last time before the hunger consumes it. The horde moves as one, and we descend the hill, how to go back. 2 years ago, I stared into the eyes of a little dead girl. She was sprawled on some highway, deep in what used to be the Midwest, her dead, fermenting eyes staring past me, and up, up, up into the sun-bleached sky. They didn't leave many bodies behind when they left, didn't want to find skeletons when they came back, I assume. Her skin was dark and leathery. There was a hole growing in her cheek. Blue tendrils came twirling out of the rotted, bony mass with those little orange tips. I wished they were green. I missed the trees, the grass. The closest thing to nature are the dead bodies with the synthetic viruses, eating themselves towards the clouds. Puny fingernail scratches on deep blue skin. She might have been dead for 3 months, 6 at a stretch. The first thing I felt when I saw her was excitement. She was the closest thing I'd seen to another person in 6 years. My father's body had been more pristine, less infected by the now, a perfect conservation of the then. There was only the tight, red little hole in his temple, the pool of dark, sticky blood pooling around bits of his brain, staring at me like a sick, foaming, red-furred dog. His eyes were stained red by blood, and they sat uncomfortably in their sockets, dislodged by the force of a bullet tearing it all up behind them. He was smiling, a slash of red teeth, red eyes popping. I half expected them to flick towards me, half expected the revolver, still lying loosely in his palm, to fire a matching shot through my own temple. I was relieved when he killed himself, as I was when I saw the dark hole in that little girl's cheek. I took the gun, I took his shoes, I turned around, and I left. As I reached the crest of the yellow hill, I looked back at him, lying like roadkill on the highway, in the dead yellow grass. our truck lying upside down, smoking, a few feet away. I wiped blood from my forehead, and I pressed on, the sun belching like a toad-white bubble of heat that burst around me periodically. There was a similar gunshot in the little girl's calf that poked out from her purple nightgown. It was the nightgown that made me vomit. I heaved onto the tarmac. I heaved and I heaved. She was so young, the same age as me probably, when I left my father's corpse to rot in the fat white sun that turned the sky gray from its heat. It happened in the night, I thought, sitting on the tarmac, staring at the little dead girl. There were faint, sun-baked faint tire marks on the road. She had gone, I thought, so young. She died, seething with red-hot pain, alone in the inky night, not an inkling of who she once might have been. The sun was rising, the sky was losing her blue. The pile of vomit to my side would begin to cook soon, like a stinking goose egg in a frying pan. I stood up. I looked at her once more, a china doll, cracked up and fading in the sun. I turned my head back to the road, the tarmac melting into a black puddle on the horizon. It had been the last wink of winter that day. Or what would have been winter? My diary says so. March 3rd. It's almost definitely wrong. The last time I was really sure of the day, the month, the year, I was 9. The day the school caught fire and burned down. The village burned for a week. The school was first, a black plume into the purpley gray midday sky. The grass was already threadbare, yellow. The buildings were lazy, wooden shacks, standing crooked, haphazard, peeling rows like a pile of matches. It's difficult to build, gather materials, do anything at all when you swelter all day under a rock or in a shack waiting for the midnight hours. The village burned, and then Grandma picked up bleach on the exodus, and soon everybody was gone, my father on his way. That day, after seeing the dead girl, I had collected enough gas and food to wait out the summer in the caves. They were damp, dripping places if you went down far enough. It stank of rotted bodies, those who had starved or gone, but it was cool. It was dark. It was safer than third-degree burns and snarling tumors all summer long. I remember, I'd left it so late that I knew to stop driving and lie in the grass under the car. I usually passed out from the heat after an hour or so. When the sun was lower in the sky, orange and red, the sky green and pink, I poured water over myself, guzzled it through my cracked, bleeding lips. And then I drove, and I drove. I'd left it so late, so dangerously late, that towards the end of the journey they started appearing in the sky. Small black dots at first, but they got bigger. They're ships, full of, I don't know, probably scientists in gray coats, watching, waiting for everything to die so they could start again. They're nothing but black pebbles in the sunset to me, and they disappear in the safety of the night. Black pebbles, no windows, no movement, no noise. They've no exhaust fumes, no visible sign of life. They just float calmly in the sky, black beads, watching as Earth eats itself like a coyote starving in the desert, picking at its own ribcage for morsels of its fleshy stomach. A stomach long gone. That little dead girl was a premonition, I suppose. It had been a silent, dissociative half-decade of white, silent heat. Each year dripped onto my lips like the last of the water in the hip flask I dangle now, as I speak, above my head. I should have been gone for the caves days ago. I stand on the roof of a gas station. It's midday. The sky is clear and gray. The yellow-brown plains sprawl outwards, forever on all sides. The highway cuts a black line down the middle. There's the occasional Lone Ranger, a telephone post in the distance, the hollow carcass of a tree. It's silent. So so silent. Silence as deafening as a Red Sea, crashing down on my shoulders and burrowing into my dry, blistered throat. There's blood leaking from the blisters in my cheeks. It starts to boil slowly, etching teary burns down my chin, down my neck. I don't feel it. I don't feel anything. I'm a pair of eyes. I forgot the cave long ago. I've been waiting for this day. The last day of winter, the last wink. I hold my arms outstretched. From somewhere far away, much bluer and greener, much louder. If I squint, I can feel them burn like an old photograph on the campfire. The sensation starts to feel like rain, cold and relieving. I bleached myself intentionally. I went to one of the rotted bodies deep in the caves. A man. In the torchlight, his eyes were milky and half-closed, his mouth slack. There was a bottle of something that had rolled away from his right hand. There were foamy remnants on his lips. He reminded me of my little brother, Jeffrey. Maybe if he had grown up in the green and blue world, then he would have looked like that. I kissed his forehead. I began to forget not long after. It was sweet. It was like falling slowly asleep. From this nightmare. This fucking nightmare, I hear myself scream from far away, in the blue and green. I start to turn away now, as my legs begin to give out on the roof of the gas station. I can feel nothing holding out his hand. The blistered now is a universe away. Just before I turn and walk down the hill, the rain pouring onto my neck, blurring my vision into a sweet, comfortable gray, expansive, eternal gray. I see that little dead girl lying on the highway, sprawled out on the scorched earth. I smile as I slip away. I smile at her red, unblinking eyes. The Bruja and the Brujo Clay was driving west on I-270 towards St. Louis. The radio was off. He was alone with his thoughts. His father had died 2 days ago, and he was on his way from Chicago to the services, trying to reconcile his feelings on the road. He loved his father, but the old man was very difficult at times. He didn't really view Clay as his son. He viewed him as his private property, to do with as he wished. It was always football practice, baseball games, wrestling meets, karate lessons, and more. Sometimes Clay just wanted to hang out with his friends and play some video games, but there was rarely much time for that. His father spent 22 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. The red light behind the gas gauge lit up. He meant to stop and fuel up an hour ago, but he was lost in thought. Now he was in the middle of nowhere, and who knew where the closest gas station might be? Hopefully something would come up soon. He stopped thinking about his father as this practical concern overrode all else until it was resolved. He saw an exit sign ahead, Snaretown Road. Some little burg out here in the sticks, but there was a faded blue sign showing the standard highway gas station symbol. He exhaled and took the exit. At the end of the off-ramp, he saw nothing but empty road running off to the left, but to his right, he could see what looked like a small village about a mile down the road. He turned in that direction. When he reached it, he realized that you couldn't really call it a village. It consisted of just 3 blocks of commercial space. Most locations were unoccupied, he noticed, with a small grid of houses just behind on either side of the road. There couldn't be more than a few hundred people living there in total. He saw the gas station up ahead on the right and pulled in. Fuck. The gas station was closed, yellow tape around all of the pumps. It looked like it had been closed for years. Why didn't they take that sign down on the highway exit? He didn't know if he could make it to the next gas station, wherever that was, with what was left in the tank. There was a convenience market attached to the gas station, and the lights were off inside. But the door opened, and 2 men came out. they were somewhere in their 50s, or maybe earlier 60s, and they were dressed alike in thick plaid shirts, denim jeans, and brown boots. They waved to Clay and approached his car with friendly smiles. Clay rolled down his window. "Hey there. What can we do you for?" Was there a nervous cast to their smiles? "I just pulled off I-270 for gas, but it looks like I'm out of luck here. Do you know where I can find the closest station?" The two men began responding at the same time, but then one deferred to the other. "Yes, sir. You want to just turn right back around the way you came, and if you continue west on the 270, you'll see an exit for, Williams Village Road, just a few miles down, and they've got a couple of stations there. Good luck to you now." They just stared at him awkwardly, and Clay thanked them and pulled out of the gas station back towards the highway, praying he could make it to Williams Village Road. The needle was right on E. He didn't remember the drive from the highway exit to that little village being so far, but he could not even see the interstate from where he was. He also didn't pass through any other towns or villages when he turned off onto Snaretown Road, but now he saw one up ahead. Just a little 3-block main street surrounded by some homes. When he arrived there, he saw the same vacant gas station with the yellow tape around the pumps, the place he just drove away from less than 5 minutes earlier. He tapped the brakes, and when he saw the two men standing there in their plaid shirts, he pulled in again and rolled down his window. The nervous smiles were gone. Now they just looked nervous, their faces somewhat ashen. The one who had provided the directions to Williams Village Road spoke up. "Hey there, partner. Did you get turned around or something?" He looked around. Clay had a very strange feeling in his gut. Not a good feeling. "I don't think so. I headed right back down this road towards the highway. I don't know how it could have possibly happened." The two men looked at each other briefly. "Well, there's a sneaky turnoff down there that basically loops you back around to here. I'm sure that's what probably happened. You wouldn't be the first. Tell you what, why don't you just make a right turn out of here and stay straight on this road until you reach the 270, and then you just hop on the westbound ramp. You'll be down there at Williams Village Road in no time." After a moment, he nervously added, "Go on now. Good luck." He looked around, and Clay thanked him and followed the directions, which were entirely uncomplicated. Once again, he followed the road back to the interstate, and once again, he drove for a few minutes and arrived back in that same small town with the defunct old gas station. The two men in plaid shirts were still standing there by the pumps, staring in his direction. Clay tapped the brakes and pulled in. This time, he killed the engine and stepped out. "Guys, what's going on here?" They stared at each other with grave expressions for a moment, and the one who had done all the talking so far continued to do so. He crossed his arms over his chest and looked down at the pavement. "Well, fella, I'm afraid we have some bad news for you. And you're not going to believe it when I tell it to you now. But eventually, I'm afraid you will know that it's all true." He paused and took a deep breath. Clay's heart started beating harder. The man pointed up to some low wooded hills just beyond the patchwork of homes that made up the little village. "So, for as long as anyone around here can remember, there has been an old house up there in them woods that was home to an old woman and an old man. They came here from somewhere just outside of Mexico City many years ago. They lived way down in Chiapas before that. Old as they were, they lived on as other folks born. Well, after them lived long lives and passed away. The old woman and the old man just kept carrying on. They didn't come down to the village here often, but when they did come down, they always looked a little older. but somehow they were still carrying on. He paused and looked at his partner in plaid. "Charlie, you want to take over here? You can probably tell it better than I can." The other man cleared his throat. "Yeah, sure." So, as Marty was just saying, the old woman and the old man who lived in that old ramshackle house up there in the hills didn't come down here to the village too often. They didn't have to. Now, here's where you're gonna stop believing any of this. But it's true. They didn't have to come down here to the village because if they needed anything, they had a pair of twin gray wolves, and they would just send them down. Those two would get whatever they needed. They would just walk into a store, pull the items that were needed off the shelves, and then growl viciously at someone in the store. They didn't care who, until they packed up all those items and followed those wolves back to the old house up there in the hills. Charlie paused to gauge Clay's reaction to this. Normally, Clay would dismiss this sort of fairy tale stuff instantly, but his head was still spinning from what had just happened when he tried to drive back to the interstate, so he continued to listen, wondering where this was all going. Well, sometimes the old woman and the old man did come down to the village. When the weather was nice and when the 4th of July fireworks were in flight, they were sometimes seen walking slowly together, hand in hand. The locals who lived here for a while all called them the Bruja, her, and the Brujo, him. I don't know how that started. It's just what people called them. Maybe they introduced themselves that way at some time. Anyway, one long summer day many years ago, no one can say just how many, they came down into the village. They were walking slowly down this sidewalk right here when some drunk driver came off the interstate in a big old SUV, looking for gas and more beer, and he swerved just enough to run the Bruja down. She was killed instantly, and the Brujo screamed in fury as the man exited his vehicle. Mere moments later, the twin wolves were there, and they had him surrounded, snarling with rage and snapping their teeth at him. The Brujo pointed down at the old woman, and without saying a word, the driver lifted her body and followed the old man back up to the old ramshackle house in the hills, the two wolves trailing behind. He paused there and raised his eyebrows, giving Clay a chance to ask any questions or express his disbelief. Clay just stared back at him, waiting to hear the rest of the tale. Charlie continued, "Well, that's when things changed around here for good. For starters, all of the usual deliveries that we received every week, food, gas, prescription drugs, retail products like clothing and shoes and such, just all stopped coming one day. That was the day that we woke up and found that drunk driver crucified by the side of the road just down there. He had a sign hung around his neck that read, 'Do not touch me,' and no one was brave enough to defy that warning. He stayed up there for almost a year, the crows picking the flesh off his bones. And then one day, there was a storm, and the crucifix was blown down. You can still see the remains of his bones in the tall grass over there. Anyway, after that, no one could leave. There were 188 people living here at that time. Any time that any one of us attempted to drive down towards the interstate and away from Snaretown Road, we ended up right back here, just like you did. Outsiders like you have turned up here over the years, and most of the time they were able to leave. But some, like you, found themselves unable to leave. No one knows why, but I assure you, it is real. You're with us now. I'm sure you seriously doubt all of this, but someday, you will be buried here." Marty nodded, and Charlie paused again, and this time, Clay was done listening to the story. He walked back to the car door. "Look, I don't know what kind of scam or joke you're trying to pull here, but I think I've heard enough. I'm leaving now." "See you soon," Marty said quietly and waved goodbye. He did not smile. About 5 minutes later, Clay pulled into the gas station again from the opposite direction. Marty and Charlie were still standing right where they were when he left. He put the car in park and rested his forehead on the steering wheel for a short time. Then he exited the vehicle. "All right, what the hell is going on here?" "Charlie just told you." Clay lifted his chin. "Okay, well, if there are no supplies coming into town, how do you all survive? What do you eat?" Charlie said, "Come with me," and walked back into the convenience market. It was mostly empty, with the exception of a few chairs and a fold-out table with a deck of cards on top. There was also a cold case, which was almost completely empty, and one of those large freezer chests that most people keep in their basement or garage. Charlie lifted the lid. It was empty. Every morning, me and Marty come down here at 8 o'clock and we check the case. Sometimes there's enough food for everyone. Sometimes there's only half that. On some days, there's just nothing at all. It's almost always frozen dinners and canned goods, but sometimes we find a bag of apples or oranges. And when someone here in town is sick, we will occasionally find a bag of prescription medications. Not always. One day there was a chainsaw, and that afternoon we got hit by a nasty tornado that knocked trees down all around. Knocked down some power lines too, but the power stayed on anyway. We lost our phone lines, cellular signal, and internet connections when it all started, but for some reason the lights have stayed on and the plumbing still works. We just can't reach the outside world. No one knows why, and no one is willing to speak with the Brujo about it. He almost never comes down to the village anymore. When he does, he is always flanked by those 2 gray wolves. Clay tried to process all of it. The initial instinct of his rational mind was to call bullshit on the whole thing, but he also knew what had just happened each time he attempted to leave the village. He needed air. He stepped outside and leaned against the fender of his car, parked by the dead gas pumps. Charlie and Marty stayed inside and spoke to one another for a little while, and then they walked out and rejoined Clay. "I'm sorry, partner. I didn't catch your name." Clay introduced himself. "Well, Clay, we have lost many of our older neighbors over the years, and not too many new ones have arrived to replace them. The last one before you was Jimmy Gillis from Kansas City, and that was over 4 years ago. As a result, we have quite a few unoccupied houses where we can set you up." Charlie looked at Marty and said, "I'm thinking Benny McCabe's place would do nicely. It's small, but he and his brother did a lot of remodeling work before it all started, and it's still in very good shape." Marty nodded. "Sure. Come on, Clay. It's just down the block here. You can leave your car there for now. It will be fine. Not that you'll ever need it again." Neither of the older men chuckled at this. It was not intended to be a joke. Clay was just trying to make sense of it all as he followed them down the block to the house. He definitely hadn't given up hope of leaving here as soon as possible, but he didn't have a plan. He needed time to think. The house would give him some time to do this on his own. Charlie and Marty showed Clay around the single-story 2-bedroom home. It was nice enough. And afterwards, they walked around the little village for a while and introduced him to some of his new neighbors. Everyone was nice, but everyone was also just off in one way or another. They all seemed a bit haunted, a bit broken, and that was right there on the surface. You couldn't miss it. Afterwards, Clay pulled his car down the block and parked it in front of his temporary new residence. He pulled his suitcase from the trunk and brought it inside. Marty came by with a frozen pizza and 2 cans of soda for his dinner. That night, lying in bed, Clay never even came close to finding sleep. He stared up into the darkness and contemplated his situation, his reality. The more he thought about it, the less he believed it. He was educated, and not given to belief in the supernatural. This had to be some kind of trick or illusion. He couldn't understand the purpose, but he didn't want to find out too late that he had been trapped into some weird sacrificial cult or something like that. As the hours went by, he became more and more sure of his conviction that this was not real. He thought about the half-mad people he had met while walking the neighborhood with Charlie and Marty that evening. He had no desire to remain here another second. There had to be a way out. And this story about the Bruja and the Brujo, it was all just too much to accept. This was crazy. He had to be at his father's funeral. He had to get there somehow. He decided to leave. He got up and packed his things back into the suitcase and walked out to the front door. When he opened it, a pair of very large twin gray wolves sat there on the porch, perfectly still except for their yellow eyes. He recoiled instinctively and took a step back. The wolves let out a low growl simultaneously, but remained still. Clay slowly shut the front door to his new home and went back to bed. He would not be at his father's funeral. He knew that now. He wasn't going anywhere. A wicked walk. Safety starts to feel like a myth when you're selling your body like it's a hanger for a clothing rack. This is me. Am I good enough for you? Are my legs thin enough? Or do they rub together too much when I walk? Do you like my eyes? My chin? Should I swing my hips or not? Do I have a boring face? An average body? I've even been told I was too pretty before. A pat on the hand, the way a child gets a bandage for a wound that nobody can see. Sorry, we're looking for uglier girls. You understand? No, I don't. The music is pumping in my ears so loudly I can't even hear my own footsteps or see the runway when I step onto it. I can feel it under my stilettos. That's all I have to go off of. I can feel the back of my dress is completely unzipped until about 3 seconds before I'm out there, bathed in neon purple light. Everything is distorted. I keep my gaze forward and focus on my hips, on my hands, on my steps, one foot in front of the other. A camera flashes somewhere, and everything is white for a fraction of a second. I blink, but my face doesn't move. The shoes are too small for me. I can already feel a blister forming. The music is so loud I can feel the bass rumble through my feet, vibrating through my body as I watch the model in front of me almost roll her ankle as she poses at the end. In my head I'm laughing, but on the outside I am poised, though admittedly I'm looking forward to hearing her get chewed out. Better her than me. I pose at the end, feeling every vein in my body shooting blood toward my heart, toward my brain, in time with whatever effervescent K-pop track this happens to be. It's in those 3 seconds that I stand there in front of everyone that I feel myself breathe, exhale, and then I'm holding my breath again, all the way until I'm behind the curtain. Backstage, everyone is running around. Girls cluster with stylists and makeup artists, their tits out, wearing nothing but a nude thong. You get used to this after a while. I too am out of my dress in a matter of seconds, disembodied hands moving over my form so quickly I don't even see who they belong to. Could be anyone. I realize as I'm looking around, I don't see the girl who almost tripped. She's nowhere to be found. That's impossible. She'd been right in front of me. Hairspray! Someone beside me yells, and then I'm bathed in that vaguely fruity aerosol scent, my ponytail getting re-slicked, while someone else is barking at me for my name. Nobody ever knows anybody's name around here. We're all just bodies. Sabrina, I'm saying, and even as it comes out of my own mouth, it sounds unfamiliar. Foreign. I don't remember the last time I said it. They usually just give you a number, throw you in a line. Sardines stuffed into a tin, wet and glittering and completely indistinguishable from one another. The man who was yelling for my name is now sifting through a rack of clothing, all covered with black garment bags. They're marked with our names. Someone beside the first man is picking off multiple hangers, his lips pursed. They all say Amber. I wonder idly if Amber is the one who tripped back there. The man carries off what would have been Amber's looks and tosses them into a garbage can. I furrow my brows gently. This was a more low-grade show, underground you might say. But I'd never seen anyone throw away a designer's pieces over a shitty runway walk. I don't have any more time to think about this before they're shoving me up onto the runway again, a new pair of ill-fitting shoes on me. I hadn't even realized someone had changed them. I walk, now in a pair of shorts and a crop top. All the designs are white, pristine looking. In the club lights they have going, we all sparkle like mirages of snow in a desert. Somehow, we all look fresh, clean, cool. Our hair is slicked, our makeup is bright and colorful. My eyeshadow is bright orange, my lips dressed in a plum sort of shade. The eyes that look on take us in with lips pressed flat, hands folded in laps. They watch us waiting for a mistake, waiting for another Amber. It was never about the clothes. You can always feel it, the way they're watching each step you take as you pass by among the string of girls. One after the other, they clench their hands together tighter, like they're praying we fall. But there's no God here, that I know. We hold ourselves up, or we drop. As I'm walking, the music changes to a song with more guitar, even louder and more suffocating than the last. Another noisy tune that I'd never heard before, something club-esque and punchy. My steps stay uniform, elegant, and strong. I have tunnel vision for the model's head in front of me, so much so that I almost trip on the body. Amber. She's laid over the runway with a slice in her neck so deep the smell of thick, hot, metallic blood fills my nose as I step over her. I only glance at her for a moment. I keep walking. I keep walking as I'm thinking, is that fake blood? It can't be. The smell. And then the model behind me screams, a shriek that's barely audible over the sound of the music. Nobody in the audience shifts. They all just sit there, eyes forward, like mannequins. I dare to look down slightly again, and our heels are leaving behind trails of Amber's blood, the fluid glowing in the neon lights, contrasting the white we're all draped in. When I arrive backstage, the model who was screaming is being snatched from behind me, howling like an animal as multiple people keep her from running, caging her in. My heart is hammering in my chest as another pair of hands is undressing me again. I hear someone in my ear telling me how perfect I look out there, how I'm doing a flawless job. I don't say anything. I just flinch when I feel them running something wet all over me. I look down, and my bare chest is covered in red. It's still warm. Is it Amber's? I look over my shoulder, and the girl with the curly brown hair is being punched repeatedly in the stomach, crying out for help, reaching into the air toward where I'm standing. Nobody looks toward her, but me. I just look at her. I'm soaked in blood, the penny smell invading my nose so aggressively my stomach is curling in on itself. They don't even give me shoes, and then I'm up again, being shoved out of the curtain with nothing but my nude thong on, and whoever's blood smeared all over my sand-colored skin. Probably Amber's. For no reason at all, I walk. The music isn't even music anymore, it's just high-pitched buzzing. Nobody in the audience moves, but I do. I walk. I am the pillar holding all of this up. I am walking sex. I am red and beige and blonde. This is me. Am I hot enough yet? The blood is so hot. Do I look strong enough? Are my hips swaying properly? How are my eyes? my lips, my neck. Tell me I'm perfect. Nobody in the audience looks at Amber's body. Neither do I. Am I ugly enough yet? Yes. I walk, displaying her sacrifice on my skin, showing everyone what her sweat and tears couldn't keep inside her body. My steps get more and more confident as I step into the puddle again, the balls of my feet sticking to the runway as I leave new prints of red behind me. It doesn't hit me until I get to the end that I'm the only model out there, blood drying crusty onto my nipples, blood seeping into my underwear. When I pause at the end of the runway, there's another fluttering of camera flashes, much more explosive than before. White fills my vision, and then I'm turned around again, heading once more for that black curtain. The ringing in my ears is so loud. This is what they were waiting for. When I step behind the fabric, everyone backstage is facing me, as if they were waiting for me to finish. And then they clap, smiling superficially at me as I stand there, blood dripping down my thighs. The girl with the curly brown hair lays there against the wall with her ribs bashed in, her skull spilling out a red and gray mush that looks like discarded Jell-O salad. The other girls, who knows where the hell they went? Better them than me, stalled. I'm not gonna take a dump in a public restroom. I'm not gonna take a dump in a public restroom. I'm not gonna... Damn it. I'm not gonna make it home. And it's right there. That grim, concrete bunker masquerading as a sanctuary of sanitation. Sickly 40-watt bulbs over twin entrances generating just enough illumination for the beast to be visible in the night. Barely there, beacons of hope guiding desperate travelers to safety. Or to ruin if they function for a siren. Which to me, they always have done. Late night, deserted park, squat building lurking like a gargoyle. Hard pass. I haven't avoided that place for 35 years, only to let it pounce now. I'll keep walking. It's only 15 minutes. I can hold it. I can make it. I can... Fuck. I can't believe this shit. Literally. I don't do public toilets. At school, at work, in restaurants, anywhere. My schedule has been refined over the years to ensure it's never a requirement. My plans are meticulous. My itinerary for every occasion is drafted around preparatory expulsions and drainage. The first 3 items on my agenda before any excursion are always be clean, be presentable, be empty, quickly followed by have phone charged, cash in wallet, and an escape plan, though these are secondary considerations. I can get away with screwing up on those. Bladder, too, can be humored if it refuses to comply, though with difficulty and potential for embarrassment. Empty bottles, vacant alleys. It can be done. Bowels can't. Not in any way, shape, or form. Don't even go there. And yeah, there have been close calls. Various delays have led to some near catastrophic misses when my schedule got shredded by forces beyond my control. Like tonight. When I broke a golden rule by chatting longer to a Tinder match than I should have, missing the 10 o'clock bus. It was dumb, but things seemed to be going well, and I liked her. Could have predicted the "had a lovely evening but didn't feel a connection" text I received 10 minutes after saying goodnight and boarding the later bus. But I let my guard down because she played the part of interested well. My bad. I was kidding myself anyway. Not like it was going to last, even if we did decide to continue. It never does. I was already on dangerous ground at that point, but it would have been okay if not for the bus taking a meandering route through every unpronounceable village in the county and getting held up by roadworks at midnight. Okay, maybe it makes sense to re-tarmac roads when there's less traffic, but still, 30 minutes onto a 60-minute trip, and by the time I disembarked, My gut was groaning. Haven't been this close to the edge in decades. The pressure, the persistence, the pain. Stumbling along like a drunken gazelle, clenching my butt cheeks, trying to think happy thoughts. But I can't. Something's up in there. I can't hold it. Not for 15 minutes. Not for 15 seconds. It's coming out, and I have to go in. To the belly of the beast. To a urine-soaked germaphobe's nightmare. To that den of depravity, again, after 35 years. FML. I bite the bullet and veer off the path, half running, half tiptoeing across a narrow strip of grass to the concrete slabbed perimeter around the monolith. It seems to inhale sharply, holding its breath as I approach, like a slumbering, concrete apparition, solidifying its presence in readiness for a reunion. I almost stutter to a halt as I reach the entrance with the faded male symbol on a scratched Perspex panel alongside. I haven't seen that up close since '89, and just being here now makes my stomach clench tighter than my ass. I want to turn, walk away, give up, and just shit my pants. But I can't let this haunt me forever. There has to be a time to face the past. That moment, apparently, is now, because my feet keep moving, and next thing I know, I'm inside, feeling like I'm 13 again. The smell hits me first, a mix of stale urine, bleach, and something rotten that almost resurrects the sushi I devoured 2 hours before. Until the familiar surroundings my eyes drift over, cause it to cower back down inside. I focus on the stalls at the back of this ceramic-tiled crypt. I keep my eyes forward, avoiding the cracked mirror over the grime-coated sink, the crude graffiti on the walls, the trio of yellowed urinals that leer as I pass, like dirty old men with pissed pants. Beneath my feet, crumpled tissue and puddles of stagnant liquid squish and splatter. Above me, fluorescent light tubes flicker and fizz. What am I doing here? I almost spin on my heels and head straight back out of this reeking vault, but my gut screams and the battering ram in my bowels launches a fresh attack, splintering the castle doors and poking through. I rush into a stall, not the one against the exterior wall, or the one in the center. The one to the right, I trust is safe. Just get it over with. I think, banging the metal door shut and sliding the lock. I undo my belt with one hand while curling the other inside the toilet dispenser to feel for a telltale sheet. Safe. But even if it was empty, there was no stopping this now. Button open, zip down, pants dropped. I turn and lower myself towards a broken seat, hoping to hover and not make full contact. But I have to abandon my revulsion and ideals of cleanliness as the castle gates buckle and the hounds of hell howl and thunder through. The missed bus, the delays on the road, the sushi that clearly wasn't good. A perfect shitstorm that created a perfect shitstorm, one that leaves me quivering and sweaty. 60 seconds later, I'm still here, trying to ignore my reality. The stink, the feel of the seat beneath my fully deposited ass, the creaks and buzzes and eerie, flickering emptiness of this alien landscape, one I never thought I'd visit again. But I did. I came back, and it didn't kill me or send me screaming into the deepest pits of despair. I sigh, feel myself relax, allow my eyes to slip open. No, it didn't kill me. But this wasn't the cubicle, where the nightmare occurred. That was 2 away, below the window, the one with the hole in the wall separating it from the middle stall. The hole plugged tight with tissue paper, like the one I see next to me now, as I turn to pull the flush handle. Was that there when I came in? How did I not notice? I took the time to check the dispenser. How could I have missed what was opposite? Was I that blinded by the urge to evacuate that I overlooked what's haunted me for decades? The hole in the cubicle wall with the scrunched up tissue securing it, keeping its purpose a secret until an unwitting victim comes along, innocently locking themselves into a vertical coffin, lowering a protective barrier of clothing, exposing themselves to the evil forces lurking on the other side of a flimsy plywood panel. A patient predator that chooses its prey wisely. The young, the vulnerable, the meek, sitting there and festering in the middle stall of three, biding his time until an opportune moment arises and the trap can be sprung, until the plug can be removed, clearing a roughly carved 3-inch diameter passage between the domains of decency, like it was 35 years ago and is again now. I can't move. I can only sit, trousers around ankles, ass glued to the seat, beads of sweat on my brow as I see the ball of tissue vanish. Hear shuffling, furtive sounds from the neighboring cubicle as the sound of the flushing water fades. Observe a flicker of movement in the darkness beyond the hole. And then, with a hiss, something shiny and serpentine slides through. A snake with glistening scales slithers an inch into my stall, then another. Its body flexes and sways. It tastes the air in my direction with a forked tongue. My breath catches as it stretches closer. Its tongue gleams. Its fangs drip venom. Its empty eyes stare into my soul. How is this happening? How can there be a snake? I want to shout, stand, run, but I'm frozen to the spot. I'm afraid a noise will make it angry. I'm afraid a movement will make it strike. I'm just me, here, alone, with no one to help me. I have to be still. I have to be silent. If I just keep quiet, it might not hurt me. If I let it do what it wants, it might leave me alone. Just let it do what it wants. Number. Its eyes entrance me, drawing me deeper. Its undulating body hypnotizes. It knows me in a way I thought I'd forgotten, and it thinks it can use that against me. Fear-infused silence presses down on me, filling the air with the same quiet dread I remember, but I'm not going to sit here and take it. Not this time. I'm not a kid, cowering against a dirty cubicle wall. I'm a grown man, and I don't have to let that thing touch me. I'm not going to let it attack. I twist, grab the cistern lid, faster than I should, but I don't care. Bite me if you want, I think, lifting the heavy porcelain. Bite me, and this time, I'll bite back. I don't have to. The snake is frozen, unmoving, beady eyes analyzing my every move as I break its spell. Fuck off, I shout, and slam the cistern lid against the wall, forcing the stalking serpent to retreat. This can't really be happening. I know that, deep down. This is some kind of trauma response, brought on by my return to this lair after so many years. This place where evil may still lurk. This place that should not be standing. The snake is gone, but the hole remains, and I don't want to see what comes next. I lower the cistern lid, drop it to the floor where it clatters, stand to yank up my trousers. There's paper in the dispenser, but I forego it. I just want out, no time to waste. So I reach for the door as I tug up my zipper. 15 minutes to home, 10 if I run. Then I can strip and shower and wash away the filth and putrid memories. My fingertips graze the metal latch. Open the door. A whisper, thin as smoke, stops me dead. I freeze, chest tightening, mind racing. The fluorescent light tubes flicker faster, their buzz an electric hum, like a warning. Did I hear that? Did I imagine it? Was it just another echo from the past? Hurry, let me in. That voice again, insistent, forceful, like a hand around my throat exerting pressure. A voice of authority, the kind that requires you to obey. I shrink back, swallow a lump, both hands fumbling with my belt, drawing the strap so tight it digs into my skin. It sounds the same. It sounds like him, but it can't be. Can it? 35 years later, is he still here? Doing the same thing to innocent children? Open the door. It's a command now, dominating, urgent. The door rattles in its frame and I squeeze my eyes shut. Impossible. He'd be 60, more. He can't still be here. I haven't seen him around town, not since Deborah left, and I moved back home to face my demons. And how is that working out? My eyes snap open. Anger, no, annoyance, replacing the fear in my chest. I take a deep breath and speak out. Who's there? The sound of my adult voice once again shatters the illusion. The lights aren't panicking. The door isn't shaking. The ghost repeating old words has fallen silent. Fuck this. I step forward, take hold of the latch, ready to face what awaits. If there is someone there, if it is him or someone like him, this time I will take a stand. I'm not a victim. I don't have to comply. I don't have to bite my tongue or keep a secret. I'm not afraid to confront a monster, not anymore, because the monster was always just a bully and a creep. A well-groomed reptile in a top-tier suit and fancy shoes, wearing the face of a paragon of virtue. A fake smiling avatar whose insides were rotten to the core. A symbiote who managed to hide his... Before I slide the latch and open the door, something shifts below and I look down. Twisting into the stall, in the space between door and floor, is a mass of writhing tentacles, weaving and winding through the piss and grot coating the tiles. I stagger back, bump against the toilet bowl, watch the gray appendages approach, twisting around each other like a mass of limbs, reaching out to coil around my ankles. I lift one foot, then the other, hurriedly climb onto the toilet, clutching the top of the stall as the tentacles roll closer. They spread across the floor, curl around the base of the toilet, start to undulate upwards, seeking me out. This can't be happening. I know it's not. It's not. Get away! I shout, my voice bouncing off the tiles. You're not real! But as the words echo, a voice outside the stall whispers back. Not the same as before, but just as familiar. It's real, it says, a warm voice, comforting and gentle. I feel it before I recognize it, like a ghost caressing my cheek. Melissa? It was always real, but you tried to bury it, and it made you close yourself off to the world. I can't breathe. My eyes dart to the stall door, desperate to see if she's on the other side. The door starts to rattle again. The owner of the tentacles, still attempting to get in. I look down to see them curl over the rim of the toilet and brush against my feet. Another voice pipes up from beyond the door, stronger, resentful. You gave him all this power, Brooke accuses, forward as ever. You wouldn't name him, wouldn't tell, not even your mother, who was waiting outside when it happened. You took on that shame and let it destroy you. No, I whisper. Stop. This isn't fair. I just wanted to go to the bathroom. I didn't expect anything else. Tears fill my eyes as the tentacles reach my ankles and slip inside my trouser legs. A third voice, Caroline's my love, enters the void. You wouldn't talk to anyone. You kept it in, let it eat you alive and push me away. Her voice, like the others, stabs my heart and I tremble, blink, try to push it back in time where it belongs. Why am I hearing all this? None of it was my fault. I'm not the reason things never worked out. He is. That man. That perfect, upright citizen the town adored. The educator, the counselor, the the patron of the arts and local charities, the polished liar hiding behind crumpled tissue and scrawled numbers on bathroom stall walls. He did this. And what are you going to do about it? That same low voice returns, snapping me back to attention. You think you can keep me out? Locked door or not, I'm coming in. I jolt as something slams against the door, and a length of garden hose slaps over the top, thick and black, swaying as if it's alive. From its winking nozzle, a single drop of viscous liquid falls. I flinch, know what's coming. I reach out to grab it and aim it away, but the tip of the hose erupts quickly, spewing thick, tar-like goo over my face. I squeeze my eyes shut, grip the hose with both hands, howl as the ooze fills my mouth. Good boy. The voice chuckles, and I see red. Number I'm fucking not. I squeeze, throttle, pull on the now fleshy hose, feeling it wriggle and writhe warmly in my grasp. Let go! The man outside the stall shouts, trying to reel it back in. That hurts! Stop! Let go! I'm not your good boy. I hiss through clenched, grinding teeth. But okay, I will. I'll let go. I gave the thick hose one last yank, and the man howls in pain as it snaps, tumbles into the stall, drops loose and limply to the floor. The invading gray tentacles slip from my legs and shrink back, shriveling up as they dissolve, taking the hose and its dirty ooze with them, drawing the nightmare away. I blink, and everything is gone. My face is dry. The hole in the wall is no longer. The only sounds to be heard are the hum of the light tubes and the desperate, panicked pounding of my heart. I dismount from the toilet, reach for the latch, release it, and push open the door. The restroom is empty. I stumble out into the night, the fresh air welcome as I catch my breath. My phone feels cold in my hand as I remove it from an inside jacket pocket. It's late, but I know she'll be awake. Even if she's not, it doesn't matter. I hold the phone to my ear as I walk, wait until I hear her surprised voice. Mom, I say, voice breaking. There's something I have to tell you. The words tumble out, and with them, years of silence as tears flow freely down my face. Bob Barker and the price of cookies. If Bob Barker was dead, he apparently was making the most of it. Bev checked the date on the magazine, guessing this bundle of BLTMs had gathered dust on some post office loading dock until some chuckle-headed awoke from their civil service coma. November 2024. She angrily brushed the white hair from her eyes as the early November winds buffeted the mailbox bank, then located the mailing label that cheapened the high-tone, heavy matte cover. Bev's old stylist had been a pretentious little bee with a stack of thick, chic, hoity town and countries in the waiting area, hoping to attract a classier clientele to her shitty little dump of a shop next to the campus Domino's that smelled perpetually of pepperoni and perms. Upshot was, somebody was going to have to get their hot goss at the Gas End Gulp or the Great Clips like a normal peon this month. Thanks. Beverly L. Tryon, 107 Oakline Drive, Millington, Illinois. Bev blinked and re-examined the other two cover boys. She was pretty sure Jimmy Buffett had sailed off into the sunset not too far back. Her hairball ex would have held a 3-day wake for the man if he hadn't already cracked his parrot head 3 Februaries back on his way from the VFW to the Moose after the last of the vets cut him off. The Legion already had turned off the spigot, and Lend canned the VA shrink halfway into intake, opting instead for his former wife's counsel to grow a set and just get over yourself. The third didn't ring a bell with Bev. Dimly familiar old black guy who sported at least a 5-pack, and who might have been handsome if, well, You know, whoever he was jamming out on some unnaturally white beach with the purportedly late Price is Right host and the patron saint of every midlife mess who'd ever dropped the mortgage on a PT Cruiser. By the way, apparently not J.D. Power's top pick for surviving a collision with anything much larger than a pop-top. She read on. Come on down. The 3Bs rock their second anniversary with Rita's and Rhythm in Paradise. Bob Barker raises the curtain on his mega canine rescue and personal crusade against poverty, while Jimmy Buffett and Harry Belafonte share their greatest hit island recipes, including the greatest cheeseburger this side of paradise. Bev frowned as a dead maple cottonwood cyclone teased her varicose ankles. She didn't care for Bob's new tarnished silver mane, and the alto sax was certainly a new one on her. Buffett wailed on his Martin guitar, part of a treasury of parrot head trivia she'd inherited along with the deed to a charred cube of Cruiser. Belafonte, she now recalled from the piece-of-shit Beetlejuice movie her daughter had dragged her to after the divorce. Only good part of the idiotic, blasphemous thing, though now she recalled that when he wasn't slapping the bongos, Harry was a major troublemaker, one of those. I thought he was dead. Bev heard her own cervical pop as she whipped irritably around to find 109 craning over her shoulder. Though she'd ascertained ownership, Bev hugged the slippery magazine protectively to her chest. If I could just... The maddeningly tall old busybody next door mumbled as she attempted to reach around Bev's compact girth. Bev leapt back, and the amazing 6-foot woman scooped an impossible stack of catalogs and political flyers from inside her narrow Ace Hardware box. Bev suspected she was a libtard. She kept a patch of weeds and hay between their houses with a sign about how she was a friend of the butterflies. The city wouldn't do anything about it. Must be some kind of marketing campaign, 109 chirped, extracting her own sleek BLTN from the pile. What do you think that stands for? Probably like AARP, but I got that Saturday. Huh, addressed to me. Weird. Maybe the O people sold my name to a mailing list. Bev's jaw tightened. Her neighbor tapped her ET forefinger on the mailing label. See that in the corner? 1/7. 7 freebies to lure us in, then the sales pitch. God, I thought Belafonte was dead. You know, my mom actually met him during one of Dr. King's marches. I'm freezing my ass off. Later. Bev grunted, scuttling across the street, narrowly averting a Domino's driver who apparently thought 30 minutes or it's free was a personal code rather than a desperate marketing plea. The card floated to the olive shag as she slammed the front door shut against 109 and the others, those who'd wormed into the downtown fringe with their hippie gardens and rainbow flags and black Antifa Lives Matter and socialist blue yard signs as her neighbors cashed in one by one. Steadying herself on the doorframe, Bev bent painfully to scrape the cream-colored card from the filth and fibers. This subscription is a very special gift from Aileen. We hope you'll enjoy our thoughtfully curated articles, Bev snorted, and that truly BLTN enriches your understanding and perhaps even your life. With love, Aileen. Christ, Bev breathed, dropping into the threadbare Thomas recliner Len had neglected to include in the prenup. Aileen. There was a cousin Eileen on Dad's side, and 2 Count 'em Ellens. One a little cunt on the Millington High cheer squad who'd made her senior year a nightmare. The other a bigger cunt of a cousin on Len's roster who she hadn't seen since her ex's 40th. Bev studied the 4x6, logo-embossed card. She realized the signature was handwritten. That itself seemed hinky. The magazine had slipped between cushion and arm, and Bev cursed as she worked it free and flipped open the stiff cover. Barker stood, arms crossed, in an improbably green field under an impossibly blue sky, surrounded by seemingly thousands of people each holding a dog. Every color and size, humans and canines, and breeds Bev had never seen in her 30-mile radius of a life, or that show with that scrawny little Mexican Cesar Milano, whatever. All dogs go to heaven, but Bob Barker wants all transcendents to have a forever home, too. See page 10. As Bev polished off her Marie Callender's meal to share Italiano meat lasagna with a dessert combo of Barker and Buffett, she was certain she'd been scammed on some elaborate and epic level. The old bait and switch, Len would have called it, probably. What was the phrase? Catfishing her for her Discovery card information, or Social Security. Bev's old pal, Wikipedia, had confirmed Barker had died in August 2023, 1 cent short of 100 of the Alzheimer's. Unless they'd discovered some miracle cure for dementia and rigor mortis, Bev suspected somebody with a computer had deep-faked up the entire photo spread like they had at the Capitol back in 2021. Buffett had nibbled his last sponge cake about a month after Barker had cashed in, and Belafonte's ticker kicked out in April the same year. Bev read on, forsaking NCIS and then NCIS and so on, to peruse Kirstie Alley and Olivia Newton-John's favorite John Travolta films, Not What You'd Think. Latino Hura Lady's new stage production of something called A Raisin in the Sun, and a selection of Tom Clancy's latest poetry. The new Harper Lee and Raymond Chandler novels were coming out, and Roger Ebert reviewed Robin Williams' upcoming comedy. Throughout were more references to transcendence, something called shepherding that appeared to be some kind of Big Brothers, Big Sisters deal for adults, and other weirdo jargon with a Scientology-type vibe. By 10:30, Bev had bypassed the crossword for a last-page nightcap called BLTN Bites. At first, she recognized none of the 8 mugshots lined up along the bottom of the inside back page, and she fumbled her Walgreens cheaters on to see just what this shit was all about. I'd sacrificed my creativity for what I thought were family responsibilities when I actually had surrendered what I loved for family expectations. Now, I sacrifice nothing. Tina H. Shepherding has opened the doors that kept me in darkness as a husband and father. Sergio F. As I help heal tortured and guilty souls, the cries of the camps finally have begun to fade. Gerhard W. I'd tried to treat my wartime nightmares with liquor and marriage, except I was only chasing poison with poison and a toxic relationship. Leonard T. Bev paused at that last, scrutinized the accompanying thumbnail, a beaming, tanned, mustached man who appeared to have lost a good 40 pounds and a network of broken capillaries. Len seemed to be smiling up at her, not in contempt but with an infuriatingly pitying joy. Bev frisbeed the magazine across the living room. The second edition was in the mailbox Friday, slumming with the Miles Kimball / Harriet Carter catalogs and Subway and Arby's coupons. Doris Day, Grace Kelly, Janet Leigh, and big-boobed Kim Novak adorned the cover this time, sharing a jumbo bucket of popcorn under a theater screen filled with a doughy, inscrutable face. "We too!" the blood-red headline screamed. Hitchcock's blondes talk Weinstein, micro and macro aggressions, and traps and tips for tomorrow's Hollywood 2BIs. Bev's faintly glaucomic eyes did a full loop as she wondered what in the fuck a 2B was, and she turned from the trio of mailboxes before glancing about the dead, gray block and sneaking a peek inside 109. Beef and cheese and teriyaki chicken, Harry and David and Land's End catalogs, and 109's own copy of BLTN. Bev started toward 108's box, but a chipper voice shattered the frigid November air, and she tasted copper. "We have to quit meeting like this," 109 murmured, with a theatrically arched eyebrow, towering entirely too closely. "Oh, it's here. I was hoping." This would have been perfect for Thursday chemo. The WNBA's eldest draft pick looked more Panera's or Whole Foods than Arby's or Subway, pale and knobby and the color of chicken skin. Shoot, I was hoping maybe you'd want mine, Bev lied, waving the glossy magazine. You don't like it? Uzdokas gasped. I find it so affirming. You know everybody in there's dead, right? Everybody, Bev echoed. Sick. I mean, what's the deal? Is this some kind of, what do they call it, cyber scam? They don't have a website, I checked, so not really cyber. And if this is a scam, it's an awful expensive one, don't you think? Did you notice there are no ads, no information about subscribing? How do they pay for this whole production? You know what I think maybe this is about? Second chances, better choices, leaving regrets behind. You know what performance art is, right? I think maybe this is like performance journalism. Bev remembered how good fucking Len looked, considering his past stint as 240 pounds of flame-broiled road chuck. I think you're batshit crazy, she snapped, struggling across the street with her slippery bundle with as much dignity as she could attempt to muster. Back in the cost-efficient, 60-degree comfort of her living room, Bev ripped through the December BLTN, scanning the names and faces of the dead. Cronkite, Winehouse, Plath, Walters, Shakur, Bogart, Cobain, Dr. King, Mr. Spock, the famous dead Kennedys building homes with Eisenhower, Johnson, Nixon, and a lanky and badly styled goateed fellow who, if Mrs. Werschnick's 5th grade history served her, had taken one in the balcony 4 and some odd more ago. This time, Bev snatched the card mid-flight, a gift from Aileen. Just between us. Aileen. The tone was indefinable, the silence that followed arctic. Bev stumbled backward against the recliner's arm. Nat, do you know any Aileen? Wasn't there an aunt on your dad's side? You never listened. Bev's daughter sounded a decade older, though it had been a little less than 3 years since they'd last exchanged a spoken word. What? You never listened. You couldn't hear anything through your anger and hate. You wouldn't hear anything. God Natalie's voice broke into harsh, strained sobs. The hell are you babbling about? Bev snapped even as her fingers trembled around the smartphone. Of course, it was us too. We wouldn't hear it. Him. Her. Oh, fuck. We thought we were the victims. We were the ones in pain. But you. Fucking you. Bev was now holding the phone in both hands, perched on the Thomas's arm as if suspended over infinite space. I'm not sitting here while you fucking cuss me out. You called me, Nat shrieked, gasping and now laughing murderously. After all this time, you called me to remind me what a poisonous, soulless, hateful old cunt you are. Well, her daughter panted. Well, I guess better late than never. Right? Right? The phone slipped from Bev's arthritic fingers as she fell back into the cushion, veined legs kicking, folded and trapped on her back like a tortoise wearing its carapace beneath the skin. Nat's unearthly rage and madness crackled somewhere in the deep green pile below, a blaze her mother was powerless to extinguish. Just between us. Before the evil took hold of him, it was their little joke. One more thumbprint cookie, an extra slice of Kroger cake or Baker's Square French silk before Mom scooped him up for supper. A reminiscence or chuckle her woke daughter would never have tolerated. We'll keep this our little secret, just between us. When Aiden finally confided in Grandma, he'd turned it against her, and she wasn't going to be extorted by a spoiled, sick 13-year-old. After it all began, after Aiden began spewing insanity, his vile inner thoughts and whinings, After the wheedling and fits and the pervert libtard shrink, and the constant trips to Chicago, and the financial realizations that threatened Paula's college, and the public displays and declarations, and finally the family's exile from holidays and even communications, the cookies and cake and the secrets had halted. When Bev herself banned the boy from her home, spitting his adopted pronouns back in his face, he'd called blubbering from one of his freak friends' phones to keep her from immediately ghosting him. He was alone. Dad would no longer speak to him. Mom had told him he was a selfish brat who'd made them outcasts. Aunt Nina told Mom, on speaker no less, that she couldn't have the girls exposed to such depravity, and the church in which Nat, Paula, and Aiden all had been christened had written to revoke God's blessing on the deity's behalf. Grandma, just between us, I kind of feel more and more like just killing myself. Bev also had received a Dear John, Luke, Matthew, Mark from the Second Millington Church of Jesus, though not from quite so far up the chain and merely punching her ticket to Tuesday night prayer and gossip and the coveted holiday potluck chairmanship. It had been months since Nat had so much as dropped her a check-in text, and the atmosphere at the Catholics' Thursday public bingo had dropped 20 or 30 degrees since Aiden's, parentally, unauthorized interview on the local AM morning show. Well, Bev had reflected, calmly, tonelessly, better late than never. Oh, of course, she couldn't blame herself. Like the literal drama queen Aiden had become demanding his true self, he didn't have, nor, as Bev had quipped, any longer had the stones to face the humiliation he'd brought down on his family, on his grandma. She had nothing to torture herself over. That was on the man with the swastika and Jesus tattoos, who'd unloaded 7 slugs into the creature who was once her little guy in a Peoria LGBTQ health center lot, to the tune of Genesis 1:27. Number it was the betrayal. Bev raged as she thrashed ineffectually to free herself from this final posthumous revenge, the effort sending jolts of pain up her left arm. He'd broken their pact, the little bastard. Or bitch. Finally, a young feminine voice pierced the growing fog. Bev blinked up at a figure perhaps not as lovely as Aiden had been handsome, but somehow far stronger. Better late than never, I guess. Miss? She'd been halfway down 107's weedy walk when she turned beaming to the gaunt, middle-aged woman gripping the porch rail next door, as if she were awaiting the first life raft. The long, frail neighbor woman was smiling uncertainly back, apologetic concern in her deeply sunken eyes. "Hello," the girl greeted in a rather low but somehow comforting tone. Instead of holding her stance in annoyed indecision, or briskly crossing the scrubby turf between them to expedite the encounter, the young woman continued down the walk and took the sidewalk to 109. On closer examination, she was what some might call homely, slender but big-boned, crisp blue eyes, set perhaps a centimeter too far apart for standard, conformist beauty. But she moved with what Kelly's own mother might have called bearing, a confidence in who and what she was, and that whatever that was just, well, right. The girl waited at the bottom of the steps, inviting, inquiring, neither expectant nor demanding. "I didn't mean to disrupt your day," Kelly said. "I thought I might have heard something from, Beverly's a minute ago, and I just wanted to know everything was all right." "It is," the young woman smiled brightly. "So you're not... I'd understood she had a grandson." She did. "And please don't be sorry. I was coming to see you next. You've received your complimentary BLTN, Mrs. Grambling?" Kelly's head tilted before the smile returned. "Well, yes. though I'd have to say I'm at a bit of a loss as to what exactly it is I'm reading. Full disclosure, I'm in no position for long-term subscriptions. The girl looked to the sky with a grin. I guess, if I had to say, we're about second chances, better choices, leaving all regrets behind. Options. I'm kinda out of those. Kelly sighed. Mrs. Grambling, do you have a minute to discuss options? I guess I have that. And please, Kelly. Aileen,